television headquarters in Tehran has been struck by an Israeli missile. The direct hit coming after Israel had issued an evacuation warning for residents in northern Tehran. Meantime, Australia is considering sending rescue flights for citizens who are currently stranded in the Middle East. Commercial flights have been grounded as the conflict continues to escalate. The federal government says it won't run any repatriation missions until it's safe to do so, but Foreign Minister Penny Wong says plans are being drawn up.
At the moment, airspace is closed. This means that governments have closed down airspace because of the risk of strikes on civilian aircraft. So obviously we have to wait until airspace is open before we can try to get people out by air.
Security will dominate the G7 meeting in Canada as Anthony Albanese prepares for his first face-to-face meeting with US President Donald Trump. Michael Packey is covering the PM's trip.
Donald Trump is here in Calgary for the G7. The escalating conflict in the Middle East will dominate discussions. Anthony Albanese will have his first in-person meeting with the President tomorrow, with trade and defence issues top of the agenda. The US is urging Australia to lift its military budget to counter aggression in the Indo-Pacific. While the government won't commit to extra funding at this stage, Mr Albanese will tell Mr Trump Australia already offers America military support in a range of areas. The government is also likely to give the US access to our critical minerals such as lithium.
Australian researchers are paving the way for a new treatment option for type 2 diabetes. Teams from multiple clinics have used electric pulses to regenerate the lining of the first part of the small intestine as part of a trial. Austin Health Professor Elif Enkinci says patients who took part in the trial had improved blood sugar control over a 12-month period.
Electrical pulses to treat the duodenum, and that leads to regeneration of the cells in the duodenum, and that helps with the management of type 2 diabetes.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Get up to $2,000 loyalty bonus when you trade in during Agostino Mitsubishi's end of financial year sale.
And there's lots happening in the world of sport. Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Jade. Port Adelaide is holding out hope that Jason Horne-Francis and Aaliyah will be okay to play against Sydney after both pulled up sore from Sunday's clash against Melbourne. Horne-Francis has a sore shoulder while Aaliyah has a sore knee after a nasty collision. Meantime, Geelong coach Chris Scott has backed Bailey Smith amid persistent criticism, telling Fox Footy while he tries to avoid all the chatter, there is one thing in particular that rankled everyone at the Cats.
The one part that did rankle everyone at our club was the idea that some of our players weren't happy with parts of the way he's going about things. And when I kind of hear that, your first sort of responsibility as a coach is to get to the truth. Hey, I don't see any of this. Is there anything that we're not across? And it's an emphatic no. In fact, it's the opposite.
Meantime, Cats defender Sam de Konings had surgery to repair an AC joint injury he suffered in their win over Essendon. He'll be out of action for at least a month. Well, Lewis Hamilton says he's devastated after finding out he hit a groundhog during the Canadian Grand Prix. The Ferrari driver says he knew he hit something, he just didn't know what it was. Australia's path to retaining the Women's One-Day Cricket World Cup has been revealed. The defending champions will begin their campaign against New Zealand on the 1st of October and will play 7 group stage games. And in some soccer, at the FIFA Club World Cup, Chelsea is leading Los Angeles 1-0 with a touch over 20 minutes to play in that contest. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thank you, Tom. Now the 5AA forecast.
Stay cosy, stay with CMAX. Visit cmax.com.au now and register your interest today.
A possible shower and 15 today, partly cloudy tomorrow and 16, warming up slightly for Thursday, mostly sunny and 19. Right now it is 11 degrees on 5AA, always Adelaide.
All right, that'll be absolutely diddly squat.
Buy any vehicle from Wayville Hyundai before June 30 and you could win an entire year of groceries from Foodland. T's and C's apply. Licence number T25707. Driven by Australian Motors.
Your old hot water system can drive as much as 40% of your energy bill. Fortunately, you can upgrade to something that's 70% cheaper to run thanks to Right Price. They're the leaders in heat pumps and installation. Now's the time to upgrade and save money on a more efficient hot water system and take advantage of government incentives and free installation. Reduce your energy costs today today with a heat pump from Right Price. Make the switch with Right Price Hot Water.
At Right Price, heating and cooling, you can get the price right at Right Price.
Remember the last time you had stomach pain? Now imagine having that pain all day, every day. Around 1 in 5 people, yes, 1 in 5, suffer from constant and debilitating abdominal pain from forms of irritable bowel syndrome and endometriosis. Thankfully, SAMRI are finding ways to block the pain, and you can play a part in their research simply with a donation. Give and take the pain away at samri.org.au.
The countdown is on. The BMW Expo sales event ends Monday, June 30. This is your final chance to enjoy savings equal to the GST on selected new BMW vehicles across the range.
That's right. Whether you're drawn to the dynamic precision of the BMW 3 Series, the commanding presence of the BMW X range, or the innovation and efficiency of the all-electric BMW i models, now is the moment to move.
Each vehicle delivers performance, craftsmanship and cutting-edge technology. And now, with significant savings, the decision is even easier.
So don't miss out. The BMW Expo sales event ends Monday, June 30. Visit your participating BMW dealer today and discover how close you are to driving a new BMW. Conditions apply.
This is very serious. The Blackout End of Financial Year sale is live at Edwardstown Mazda with huge in-showroom only deals and serious savings across all new and demo vehicles. Save up to drive away with no ads, no clues, just serious end of financial year value in store only. Are you serious about end of financial year? Prove it. Show up. The Blackout Sale, only at Edwardstown Mazda and only in store. Must end June 30.
Streaming live via the 5AA Player app on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. This is 5AA, always Adelaide.
Hyundai End of Financial Year sale is on now. Jump into the Tucson from $39,990 drive away at your participating Hyundai dealer.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
8 minutes after 6, good morning to you and welcome to a Tuesday on 5AA Breakfast. This is the 17th of June. And we're going to be interviewing the Governor of South Australia, Francis Adamson, this morning. Looking forward to that. It should be part of our official lineup for the Best of SA dinner at Adelaide Oval on Friday night. But here on the program after 8:30, always enjoy our chats with the Governor and very much looking forward to that. Also looking forward to catching up with Phil Coorey, the eyes of the world on the G7 summit at the moment. Phil Coorey is there shadowing the Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese. He met with Mark Carney, the Canadian PM, yesterday. Of course, we've got the Donald Trump meeting that's going to happen in the next 24 hours. What has Phil been able to glean on that trip? We'll find out. Trial by jury, we've got acknowledgement of Police Legacy Day we're going to do before 7 o'clock today, and a local fire story that is either a case of really bad luck or something else, but we'll get to that very, very shortly as well. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, listeners. Good morning, Will. Very excited about chatting to Governor Francis Adamson later on in the show. Not the owners of the Gov. Got confused. I would have been excited to talk to the owners of the Gov as well. But, yeah, yesterday Will said, we've got the Gov coming on for Best of SA. And I thought, I love that. I love that venue. I reckon I've been there 50 times. And Will's just sort of like, he's lost it. He's lost it again.
No, I could just see the joy. I didn't want to deflate you because I could see the joy in your eyes getting to talk about something you love so much.
If it's not meandering anecdotes about Mexico or random recipes being plucked out of the air apropos of nothing, it's sentimental chat about, I remember seeing Where's the Pope there in 1989. But, the real governor. The real governor.
Do you reckon there's ever a moment the real governor, Francis, misses her old life? There's a bit going on in the world at the moment, to use that turn of phrase, and she used to be in the thick of this.
Yeah.
Diplomatic postings around the world, and she was solving these sorts of issues, representing Australia.
I think the biggie for her, she was our ambassador to China. But she was the head, the departmental secretary, which is effectively, the CEO of the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade. She was the person who used to have to go and appear before estimates, where you'd get these blustering politicians trying to trip her up or get her to say in intemperate things that suited their worldview, be they hawks or doves on questions like China. I reckon diplomacy would be like the ultimate intellectual activity in a lot of ways, where you've got to prosecute the national interest as aggressively as you can in a way where you pretend like that's the farthest thing from your mind.
Mm.
You know, when you're dealing with host nations that are often whose interests and whose conduct are antithetical to yours.
Totally. The analysis piece that comes before the negotiation too, I'd find completely fascinating. Sitting and saying, what matters to these guys, and how do you address that in a way that's polite to them? Like culturally, what are their sensitivities? Economically, what are their sensitivities? What are the no-go areas? How do you address things that are prickly to this country? Because maybe they don't have a culture of directly addressing things that are controversial. Like all that stuff, I just find it would be fascinating to work through.
The thing too about being a diplomat, it's a hugely interesting lifestyle. Like you get upended a lot. So you have postings, and you do a posting, and it's 3 years minimum, extendable to 4. But then you have to come back, and you have to return to base, which is normally in Canberra, and do 3 years extendable to 4 there. I think I'm not sure if that part's extendable, but you do. It's almost like FIVEAA on steroids. So you do 3 years on, 3 years off, pretty much. And you can ask to be sent to countries that sort of fit your skill set. But I've got a couple of mates, really good mates, who've worked for years with DFAT, and the extent of the training they get. Like a friend of mine went to Thailand, and they were put through this course in Thai that went for, I think it went for 6 months. So by the time they arrived in Thailand, and when I say 6 months, this isn't an hour a night on Duolingo. This is your 9 to 5 job with exams. So by the time they arrived in Thailand, they spoke Thai and they could read Thai, which is crazy.
That's extraordinary.
When you think,
it's a beautiful written language.
Oh, it's bizarre.
It's one of the prettiest written languages, I think. It looks aesthetically, Thai is very pleasing to read.
The other thing, though, is like growing up, I love Tintin books, you know, all the sort of exotic adventures and that. Like a lot of countries, when you go there, you get what's called a hardship allowance. And I think from memory, Dili was one for a while. I don't think it is anymore. Caracas definitely is. Tel Aviv, Israel, all of that, 100%. Kabul definitely is. But then you get countries that are just hard. I don't think Mexico City's one. But yeah, Caracas in Venezuela definitely is. Well, you can earn up to 20% more of your existing salary. But
it's not as enticing as I thought the number you were going to say is.
No, it was not double. But we, years and years ago, my ex-wife and I went and visited this friend of ours when she was working at the Australian Embassy in Brasilia. Now, Brasilia is like the third world version of Canberra. Yeah. It is the craziest planned city in the middle of the desert. From the air, the geography of Brasilia looks like an aeroplane. So you've got this grand avenue that's like the fuselage, and then the residential areas fan out like wings. That was the idea they had, part of the idea. The main cathedral looks like a Mentos. It's designed to look like a church wave. It is the craziest modernist architecture. Robert Hughes canned it. He said it's an utterly dysfunctional dystopia. But when we went there, as my ex-wife and I, years and years ago, like our friends, they had their house it looked like Pablo Escobar's house, because that's just the way diplomats are housed there, with there was an armed guard with a machine gun out the front.
Wow.
This pool that was like probably easily 20 by 10 metres with no fencing, all these tropical trees, outdoor churrasco barbecue, that is servant. And it's just like, well, that's the way rich people live securely in Brazil. It was just wild.
To revisit the original point, to go from there, the opening night of the Cabaret Festival is sort of a different change in lifestyle, isn't it?
Who's coming in today? Oh, it's the Scouts from St Mary's. This is all good, important stuff.
It's great stuff. It's just a different speed.
Yeah. Different from eating at a Michelin-starred restaurant on the 38th floor of some hotel in Shanghai, though, isn't it?
We'll be talking to the Governor after 8:30 this morning. 16 after 6, news headlines coming up next.
At SEW Eurodrive, we keep Australian industry moving with innovative drive technologies and unmatched service. Our 24-hour emergency breakdown service minimises downtime to maintain productivity.
Adelaide's local, trusted and truly connected talkback radio station. 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Dreaming of a getaway? Now's the perfect time. With the G'day Parks app, not only do you get access to more parks in more places, but if you book on the app before the 31st of August for travel anytime this year, you'll be entered into the draw to win free fuel for a year. A whole year of free fuel. Book to win and get away on us. G'day Parks, the easy way to get away. Here's good. G'dayParks.com.au.
T's and C's apply. Permit number ACT TP25/00645.
Burbank homes are built for all of life's moments. Big ones, small ones, and all the beautiful ones in between. Explore 13 display homes across South Australia. Burbank, the pursuit of living. BLD 266709.
You don't just do a good barber, you're the tong master. You're not just flipping snags. You've earned the title Backyard Hospitality Director, so you deserve the very best outdoor kitchen from Adelaide Outdoor Kitchens.
Choose from the best appliances, add a bar fridge or a pizza oven, or stun your guests with one of their custom-made concrete bench tops. They do indoor concrete bench tops too. These handmade bench tops can really update any kitchen space. Custom made for you, every piece unique, especially for you.
Call for a consultation and quote today or visit the Seaford Meadows showroom on Farrow Circuit. The best backyard hospitality directors choose Adelaide Outdoor Kitchens. Go to adelaideoutdoorkitchens.com.au.
My sister and I didn't choose to be homeless, but it was our only option. Thousands of people like us are facing impossible choices, living in cars and unsafe accommodation. This winter, your donation to the Vinnie's Winter Appeal can provide food, shelter and a fresh start, offering hope and stability to people in need. Help Vinnie's make a lasting difference. Donate today at vinnies.org.au or call 13 18 12.
Your Royal Flying Doctor Service comes to the rescue of 15 South Australians every day. It can be a heart attack, motor vehicle accident. It can be a newborn with breathing difficulties. It can be someone you know and love. Your support of the Royal Flying Doctor Service makes all the difference. For the people and the life you love, help keep the Flying Doctor flying. Donate today. Visit flyingdoctor.org.au. That's flyingdoctor.org.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Hyundai End of Financial Year sale is on now. Jump into the Tucson from $39,990 drive away at your participating Hyundai dealer.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
19 minutes after 6, was chatting with one of the wonderful camos at Sunrise and 7, Ben Cashman, just before 6 o'clock when we came on the air, because he's at the scene of this Blackwood Woolworths Shopping Centre fire that took place overnight. It wasn't in the Woolies, but it's in the neighbouring barber shop. The front window's been smashed in. Police are investigating. Have a listen to Brittany Evans from the MFS.
CFS crews were called to Shepherd's Hill Road at Blackwood just before 1:30am this morning to reports of a fire in a shop. The quick response by volunteer firefighters on 3 trucks helped to extinguish the fire rapidly and prevented the business from being destroyed. Crews also stopped the fire from spreading to neighbouring shops on either side. However, they have been impacted by smoke. Total losses are estimated at more than $40,000, and SA Police are investigating the cause.
It sounds deliberate, doesn't it?
It sounds very sus.
Like a barber shop doesn't just catch fire with a window smash.
And it's got a history. You'll hear a bit more about that after 7 o'clock when we chat with Ben. He knows the full history of it because he's the guy that gets up and covers these things every single day. So we'll talk about that.
It's got a history of spontaneously combusting, has it?
Bad luck, perhaps.
Yeah.
Police are investigating a suspicious death at Gilberton just after 7 last night. Emergency services were called to a unit on Walkerville Terrace after reports of a person collapsed inside. When officers arrived, they found someone deceased at the scene. Detectives and major crime officers declared the death suspicious. A woman has been detained and is currently assisting police with their inquiries. Evidence of human occupation dating back to the Ice Age have been found at a cave site near Lithgow in New South Wales.
Really?
Archaeologists say artefacts found at the Hatter's Hideout Cave make it the oldest high mountain site continually occupied by humans in Australia.
How many years ago?
The Ice Age.
How long ago was the Ice Age?
Great question.
When was the Ice Age? I haven't got that one down in my diary.
Yeah, my knowledge of history starts tapping out generally sometime around the Bronze Age. Now,
you've always been a big bronze guy,
you
Will.
know me. 115,000 between 115,000 years ago and 11,700 years ago.
Okay, so that's within, because don't we say Indigenous history is 40,000 years old? Well, didn't they put that up recently? Didn't they go to 80,000?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, by the true, it is a form of Indigenous occupation, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's within that time frame, though.
11,700 to 100,
isn't it?
It depends on the sort. Anyway, as recently as 11,000 years ago, it was Ice Age.
So it's a cave in Sydney, just outside of Sydney, Lithgow, home of Betty Cuthbert, the Lithgow Flash. I wonder if there's a Sydney real estate agent trying to sell it.
Oh, it's probably worth about $7 million.
Saying, you know, if you stand up here, you can see all the way to the harbour, clear through to the heads, and that's why cavemen lived here uninterrupted. They held tight onto this one.
Fixer upper,
tightly held.
It is a cave. Needs a bit of TLC.
We're going to lose all of our East London listeners because every time we talk in a sort of about anyone being shonky, we end up sounding like Arthur Daly.
That's true.
It's a form of racism, Will.
Indeed. Tabcorp has been fined for sending more than 6,000 messages to VIP customers. The communication watchdog has handed the gambling company a $4 million fine. ACMA Authority member Samantha York says there's serious breaches.
Spam is frustrating to receive at the best of times, but when gambling is involved and VIP customers are being targeted with communications, there's a potential for genuine harm.
Isn't that what they subscribe for? Like if you're a VIP, don't you want texts telling you, hey, because you're a VIP, you're a mad gambler. Isn't that the sort of in-your-face attention you want from Tabcorp?
So, presumably, Tabcorp being fined, I'm just rereading this, for sending more than 6,000 messages to VIP. Did each individual get 6,000 text messages? Because 6,000 in toto probably doesn't seem like that. I mean, that is a lot if it's 6,000.
But how is it any different? I don't know. I haven't got any betting apps. But if you've got them, do you ever get texts from them?
Yeah, sometimes they call you.
Well, they ring you?
Yep. They ring you and go, I wonder if you're aware there's some exciting new specials.
What, a real person rings you?
Yep. They sure do.
You were kidding me.
Yeah, it's incredibly annoying.
Wow. How is that not worse than what Tabcorp did?
Well, yeah, I'd rather much get a text I can ignore than a phone call.
It really is just, like, off the charts in this country, isn't it?
Completely. The Prime Minister will soon be paid more than US President Donald Trump when the salaries of federal politicians are boosted next month. The Remuneration Tribunal, shall we use the turn of phrase now? Arm's length.
Arm's length.
It's raising the salaries of MPs by 2.4%. Anthony Albanese's salary will be lifted to $622,000. He's not releasing his own phone, though, is he? Have you seen that story? Donald Trump, we'll talk about that after 7 o'clock today. He's making Trump phone to take on Apple, and he has a plane as well. Can you imagine if Albo got given a gift of a plane that he could just keep?
By a country that we're not particularly close to. It was Qatar, wasn't it, who gave the plane to Trump.
Yep.
Yeah, imagine if, like, I don't know, Brunei would be a good example. Imagine if the Sultan of Brunei just suddenly took a shine to Albo and said, I'm going to give him a plane. He's like in the top 10 richest people on earth, isn't he? The Sultan.
Great question.
Not Albo.
Great question. That said, Albo does own Sydney real estate, so he probably is. 10.4 degrees outside at the moment, heading for a top of 16 today, up to a mill of rain possible, but not necessarily likely. It's going to be dry for the next few days. 16 the top tomorrow with an overnight low of just 6. So it'll be much cooler tomorrow morning. Yeah, a little bit around yesterday.
Decent.
19 on Thursday, 20 on Friday and 20 on Saturday. No rain either of those days. They're going to be magnificent days.
Nice.
Then we're going to get some good rain Sunday and Monday. So 19 the top Sunday, up to 10 mils of rain. Monday, top of 16, but 2 to 15 mils of rain. So potentially a little decent downpour for Sunday the 22nd and Monday the 23rd of June. Tom Renz of the 5AA Breakfast Studio as we turn our attention to sport, thanks to Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, style and safety to your home. Gliderol.com.au. Morning, Rennie.
Good morning, Will. Morning, David. A bit of football around the place. We spoke a bit about Port's win yesterday, and now they're sweating on the fitness of a couple of players, Jason Horne-Francis and Aaliyah. So they're going to need them, I reckon, if they're going to be, a big chance to make some kind of run. Scans yesterday. It doesn't look great. Horne-Francis looked like he's in a bit of discomfort.
Well,
actually.
Sam Daddo, who was doing the boundary for us during the Port game, just said he was in real pain.
Yeah.
Not just slight discomfort. He was in... there was weird real concern at the game based on his description of Jason Horne-Francis on the sideline, so that doesn't sound great.
And he's not the kind of guy that would just come off and say, I'm a bit sore.
I just need a rub.
He's pretty tough player, so hopefully he's okay, but we should know a little bit more today. And Aaliyah had his scans last night, so he got that one below the knees, which
tried
was
to come back on.
And he looked terrible, didn't he?
He couldn't move.
And they kept him out there for probably half a quarter.
Yeah.
So
that was one of those ones where being courageous, I mean, it's always sort of seen as doing the team thing, but you went,
time to get off.
Yeah, we appreciate your bravery, mate, but don't.
Get off the ground.
Just come off.
Yeah, you don't need to prove anything to anyone.
No, that's right.
Great stories you'll often get at major championships in tennis and in golf, and so it proved again yesterday. There was a guy called JJ Spawn who, to I think most lay sports fans, no one probably knows anything. He's only ever won one PGA Tour event. He did finish runner-up this year at the Players' Championship to Rory McIlroy, and yesterday he was one off the lead at the start of the round, totally fizzled. He shot 5 over in his first 6 holes. He was gone. He was 4 or 5 shots back. Then they had this massive rain break, and then they come back out, and he just played some of the best golf of his life. He made a 50-foot putt for birdie on the par 5 12th hole. Everyone else is crumbling around him. And then he had 2 putts to win the PGA, to win the US Open from 60 feet. It's like putting on this tabletop, this desk that we're on. The greens are so hard and firm and difficult. So 60 feet to 2 putt to win. This is how he did it.
Want to cozy it up. Don't need to make it. 2 putts.
You know it's a long putt, Rennie, when it's 15 seconds worth of crowd reaction.
Yeah.
Like, that ball was travelling a long way.
How long was the putt?
64 feet. He binned it after binning a 50-footer on the 12th. If you make 100 feet worth of putts in a round, you've had a really good day. I reckon he would have made 160 feet in the last 7 holes. He's had the finish of a lifetime. So
and the course was hard. The scores were...
It was. So 1 under. He was 1 under. No other player finished under par. I don't actually mind seeing players at that quality grind because most weeks
I agree.
The fairways are huge.
Yeah.
They can just, it's called, stop and drop. So they just bomb it as far as they can, then a wedge in and it becomes a putting contest. Whereas this, like if you're in the rough, good luck. And players like Adam Scott and Sam Burns, unfortunately, the final group, they shot 15 over between them. They just got annihilated. So it was brutal out there. And just on Scott, 96 consecutive majors. I hope he has another chance at winning one. He's got the British Open next month. That's the final one for the year, but not, unfortunately, his time this time. But his swing is so gorgeous. But it was you're right, an absolutely brutal course out there. So amazing. And well done to JJ Spawn, 34 years of age. And your boys will in action again today.
Yes.
He doesn't need reminding.
The stats on when it's 2-2 and the team winning game 5 and going on to win the series, it's almost whoever wins this game, it's just about lights out. So the statistics improved in the past.
Yeah, history is a guide. Yep. Sufficiently nervous and just made me feel worse. So that was good. Thank you, Reddy.
Good on you, boys.
Thank you, Tom.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Possible showers and 15 the top today with the 6:30 news. Good morning, I'm Jade Robrin.
Keep in shape with physio-instructed clinical Pilates and gym classes at 6 locations. physioextra.com.
A person has been found dead inside a unit at Gilberton, with police treating the death as suspicious. Emergency services were called to Walkerville Terrace just after 7 p.m. Monday following reports of a person had collapsed. Officers arrived to find someone deceased and major crime detectives were called in to investigate. A woman has been detained and is assisting assisting police with their inquiries. A barbershop in Blackwood has been destroyed after it was broken into and set on fire overnight. Police were called to the scene just before 1:30am where they found a burning jerry can inside the shop. It's the second time the business has been targeted in recent weeks. Investigations are continuing. The Iranian state television headquarters in Tehran has been struck by an Israeli missile. A live program was interrupted and the female presenter had to leave the set as debris rained down. The direct hit came after Israel had issued an evacuation warning for residents in northern Tehran, where the broadcaster is located. Senior analyst Malcolm Davis said told the Today Show that there were no signs this conflict will end anytime soon.
You know, it is a war that is escalating. It's not de-escalating. There's no real sign that either side wants to back down, and it's really uncertain as to how this war develops in the coming days.
An Australian team has devised a new way to treat type 2 diabetes that may enable a one-off treatment rather than daily insulin injections. Called Reset, it's an endoscopic procedure performed under anaesthetic and uses an electrical pulse to regenerate cells. It uses a catheter to continually deliver the pulses to eliminate poorly functioning cells and allow the regrowth of new healthy cells. Tabcorp has been fined over $4 million for sending more than 5,700 marketing messages to customers on its VIP program. The distribution of those messages broke Australia's spam laws. The Princess of Wales has returned to the Order of the Garter service after missing last year while undergoing cancer treatment. Catherine appeared in good spirits as she watched the procession at Windsor Castle alongside the King and Queen and the Dutch and Duchess of Edinburgh. The ceremony is part of a busy period for the royals, with royal ascot in the coming days. And Donald Trump's family is expanding their business interests, moving into mobile phones. The US president's son, Donald Trump Jr., unveiled the plan.
Today we're here to introduce Trump Mobile. We've partnered with some of the greatest people in the industry to make sure that real Americans can get true value from their mobile carriers. One of the places where we felt there was lackluster performance was in the mobile industry.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Get a 3K cash card on selected models during Agostino Mitsubishi's end of financial year sale.
Good morning to you, Tom Red.
And a very good morning to you as well, Jade. Port Adelaide's players, they're going to hit the training track this morning as they prepare for Saturday's twilight clash at home against Sydney. Much attention is on the injured stars Aaliyah and Jason Horne-Francis after both pulled up sore during the win against Melbourne. The club is confident both have avoided serious injury. Still on footy, St Kilda coach Ross Lyon has given an update on Max King, saying he'll have scans under load to try to identify the root cause of his knee issue. He's told Fox Footy it seems to be mechanical issues rather than structural.
When moving under load in a certain mechanism, there's something grabbing, and they need to figure that out. I see him when it's going well, and then I walk into the gym and I see him, and you see a heaviness around him, and my job's to offer that support. He's very determined. The job is to find solutions.
Let's go to soccer full-time in the FIFA Club World Cup match between Chelsea and Los Angeles, and it was a 2-0 win for the Blues, who scored in each half to take all 3 points. And Perth will again host Australia's biggest basketball festival. In mid-January, for the second year in a row, Perth will host entire rounds of the NBL and WNBL competitions. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thank you, Tom. Now the 5AA forecast.
Stay cosy, stay with CMAX. Visit cmax.com.au now and register your interest today.
A possible shower and 15 today, partly cloudy tomorrow and 16. Warming up slightly for Thursday, mostly sunny and 19. Right now it's 11 degrees on 5AA, always Adelaide.
Hyundai end of financial year sale is on now. Jump into the Tucson from $39,990 drive away at your participating Hyundai dealer.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
25 minutes to 7. In an hour's time, we're off to Canada. Phil Curry is travelling with the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, at the G7 summit that's taking place there. In the next 24 hours, it will be the site of the meeting between Anthony Albanese and Donald Trump. Well, they'll talk about AUKUS. They'll talk about the trade restrictions that have been, the tariffs that have been put on Australia. It's going to be a big 24 hours for Anthony Albanese, and Phil Curry will have the best preview you're going to hear anywhere of it after 7:30 this morning. Then we're going to have a trial by jury, and a little bit later, the Governor of South Australia, Francis Adamson, is going to join us. Overnight in the Israel-Iran conflict, we just heard a bit of that audio. I want to play it again in our 5AA News with Jade Robrin. Have you seen this? The video of Iranian state TV being bombed while they're on the air. So it's like it's a routine broadcast, the likes of which you might see anywhere in Australia. Local television, I think it's the state-run. It's the state-run television, so it'd be the equivalent of an ABC broadcast where you're watching for the latest news, and this happens. It looks so extraordinary. It almost looks like it's fake. The set and the stage,
the volume, though, crikey,
blows apart.
It's extraordinary, isn't it?
The host seems to exit okay, but it's remarkable. There was warning. Now, Israel have said we warned that we were going to target that area beforehand. I don't know how enthusiastically that warning goes out. I'm not entirely sure, but it was pretty remarkable. Donald Trump at the G7, as I just mentioned, he commented on the conflict and said it needs to end.
They have to make a deal, and it's painful for both parties, but I'd say Iran is not winning this war, and they should talk, and they should talk immediately before it's too late.
Israel's even said they might even knock off the Ayatollah, like actually kill their leader.
There's some speculation, and it's only speculation because we'll never know, that they have people in place to be able to do it, and it was the sort of line that when they did they not ask the US's permission to do all this? It's hard to imagine they didn't. Donald Trump said that's where we draw the line. You're not doing that.
Yeah,
because part of their original plan was we're going to knock out the entire leadership because Israel wants to create an environment where the Ayatollah's overthrown. The government's overthrown.
They want them because there's a significant moderate faction in Iran.
Massive.
There's heaps of people women in particular, who would be dreaming of the Ayatollah being out of the picture. Apparently, Iran sound like they want this to stop. And apparently they've asked the Gulf states like Qatar and UAE and a couple of the other ones, I think Oman, to talk to Trump because they've got good relations with the West, and say, can you talk to Netanyahu and tell him to pull his head in? But it's just another demonstration of how under Netanyahu, Israel thinks, well, no one else is going to help us. We're just going to do this ourselves, our way. And,
big kind of awkward position for Iran, isn't it, to suddenly say, we need the US to sort of step in and say, can we, calm the conflict? Because they have had the odd death to the USA march in recent years, haven't they?
And they had 2 confirmed plots to assassinate Donald Trump as well.
Yeah. That seems poorly timed.
Yeah, it's like, let bygones be bygones.
Yeah, forget all that.
We need a bit of a hand here.
Yeah, let's try and start again. 8223 is that number. You can text us on 0448 08 1395 as well. Some text coming in.
Oh, yeah.
Or some you can't read.
My instinct is always to go for humour, and with you, Will, being a newsreader, a few people are making comments about how you go with it. But I mean, at the same time, though, we're talking about a situation where there's so many innocent people getting killed on both sides. The thing that's really appalling about this is, and this is what when we spoke to the guy in Tel Aviv yesterday, like in the past, the type of missiles that are used aren't as good as at hitting their targets. But these are genuine weapons of war being fired into apartment blocks. It's just terrible, isn't it?
There's some extraordinary vision last night that we had on 7 News that lent ballast to what our guest in Tel Aviv was telling us yesterday. It is remarkable the degree to which these buildings that have been ostensibly destroyed, or apartments within these buildings that have been blown apart, but the safe room inside stays entirely intact. There's these videos of people have their safe room. They've got a little bed in there. They've got some food stores and so forth. It's pretty rudimentary. But then once you open the door to re-enter your apartment, the apartment's not there anymore. But the safe room is intact. I don't know what they make them out of, what the engineering that goes into it, but it is remarkable. And I don't think we've ever seen them tested like this. Maybe they've never been tested like this before. But some of the imagery is it's incredibly impressive design set against the backdrop of obviously something pretty brutal and confronting.
Imagine that being like sort of part of the what you look for in a home. You know, here it's like a double car LUG lock-up garage would be nice. But over there it's like, what's the bomb shelter situation like? You know, if we're being rained down and there's a bit of a gap in the Iron Dome that night, where do I put the kids? I'd be out of that country quicker than, I don't know. We'd have listeners have gone to Israel. I wonder if we've got any listeners have gone to Iran. Apparently it's almost impossible to get in. The food writer and broadcaster Anthony Bourdain, he spent years seeking and eventually getting permission to go into Iran. He did a great show about it. Yeah, it's one of
my friends went to Iran.
Really?
Went and visited, just as sort of a real jet setter type who likes just to go to places in the world that you don't typically go to, and said it was unbelievable.
Apparently it's really good.
Because there was a sort of this duality of culture there where out in public it was this very fundamentalist Islamic experience, but then the moment you get behind closed doors, it was like the old pre-1970s Persia was back.
Yeah.
And he said it was just remarkable what happened outside and then inside in places, especially among young people, which is what Israel are trying to tap into.
My dentist for a while was an Iranian woman.
Yeah.
And I knew a guy in Sydney called Amir who was in the Villawood Detention Centre but eventually got given Australian citizenship because he was an apostate, which is someone who's changed their religion, which is against, in Islam, it's, in Sharia law, punishable by death at its most extreme. If you renounce your Islamic faith and become a Christian or any other religion, watch out. And he'd done that in Iran.
I want to ask you on this morning on 8223 about your guilty pleasures and the manner in which they manifest financially, things that you won't say no to despite costs going up and so forth. There was a piece of the Tizer this morning by data comparison site Finder that revealed 14.1 million of us, so fair whack, were indulging at least one of the 4 short-term, what they call dopamine hits, across 7 days, things that eat into the budget. What are those things? Vapes, booze, fast food, and food delivery. I don't know, fast food I guess you go get it yourself as opposed to food delivery. Forking out $261 a week, which adds up to $13,500 a year. That's after tax as well. Almost half of the people who responded do buy takeaway each week. Alcohol was the next most common. 2 in 5, about 40% of people buy alcohol every week. 21% of people, about 1 in 5, used Uber Eats and their equivalents. 1 in 5 bought cigarettes or vapes weekly. It is a staggeringly high cost when you think about it. So I want to know what your...
Trick is, don't think about it.
Yeah, well, that's clearly how we all do it. $13,500 a year is a huge amount of money. It's like buying a car it's almost like buying a car every year. Let us know. What are your guilty pleasures? 8223 Doesn't matter if they don't have a health sticker on them or if they aren't the smartest use of your money. It's your money. Do whatever you want with it. Let us know what yours are, though, folks. We'd love to hear from you.
Speaking of things that are frowned upon, I was in traffic yesterday in the city and I was thinking, remember the interview we did with Chris Picton about Hamgate, the ham ads, ham and salami and how, processed foods, the list of goods and products that the health department thinks shouldn't be advertised. Well, the minister said ham is not on his radar. He even sent me a photo of a ham sandwich that he'd made for his kids in their lunchbox that day. But I remember I was thought back during that interview because I asked him, what about Subway? Because he was saying this is all about going after junk food. It's about going after, KFC, 3-piece feeds, Zinger burgers, Macca's, etc. But he said, when I said, what about Subway? And he said, we're going to take a case-by-case approach. Because I think that, like, Subway's a good example. And the reason I thought of this was yesterday I saw an entire bus covered in Subway. Like the whole bus was a Subway ad. The length of the bus was a 12-inch sub. And then I saw another bus that on the back had Primo salami in the stackers, the ones you put in your kid's lunchbox. And I thought, that's the other thing I got into about. It'd be worth an enterprising journalist. Well, maybe that could be us. Maybe we could do that ourselves. Get onto Primo, get on a Subway and say, is everything all right?
Yeah.
Have you had any feedback about...
jumping through any extra hoops?
Because don't you reckon Subway's a classic example of something that can either be total garbage or really, really good? I mean, you can go there and say, I want the 3 meats, double cheese, under the griller with ranch sauce and, you know...
Or you can have all vegetables.
Yeah, you can have tuna, avocado, lettuce.
Good luck getting any advertising on a train at the moment. Have you seen them? Back in government, back in your hands, the big advertising. I wonder what we, the taxpayer, have paid for that, or do we not need to pay ourselves?
I wonder when the election is too.
Yeah, let's check traffic. Visit Jarvis Toyota's new home in Brighton Road, Summerton Park for savings across the Toyota pre-owned certified range.
Thanks, Will, and morning, David. At Tea Tree Gully got a road closed due to a burst waterway this morning. It's Northeast Road at Haynes Road. Got detours in place there, but that'll be a bit of a headache this morning, so keep it in mind if you've got to head that way. Crash at Keswick, Richmond Road near South Road, and a car fire at Hackham. It's on Susan Road near Melinda Road. Bit out of the way, shouldn't give you too many headaches this morning. Cameras, Elizabeth Way, Elizabeth, and Hub Drive at Aberfoyle Park. It's the everyday moments that matter most when your child is ill or injured. You can help family life carry on at Ronald McDonald House. Donate today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
All right, that'll be absolutely diddly squat.
Buy any vehicle from Suzuki in the city before June 30 and you could win an entire year of groceries from Foodland. T's and C's apply. Licence number T25707. Driven by Australian Motors.
Working in the public sector? Get the insights you need to stay ahead. Join IPAA SA for the 2025-26 State Budget Briefing with Treasurer Stephen Mulligan. This exclusive event offers direct access to the government's economic roadmap. From healthcare and infrastructure to cost of living pressures, discover what this budget means for your operations and for South Australia. Connect, plan, lead. Register now at ipaasa.org.au.
It's Super Cheap Auto's Super Sale. Save 20% on Nava Performance headlight globes. And club members, buy a Century or SCA automotive or four-wheel drive battery, get $30 club credit back. Super Cheap Auto. Make it super.
At IGA, we've got specials that are special to you. Like Pepsi or Solo 1.25 litre selected varieties, $1.75 each, half price. IGA, you can't beat local. Offer ends June 17. Participating stores only. Excludes Foodland.
This is very serious. The Blackout End of Financial Year sale is live at Edwardstown Mazda with huge in-showroom only deals and serious savings across all new and demo vehicles. Save up to drive away with no ads, no clues, just serious end of financial year value. In-store only. Are you serious about end of financial year? Prove it. Show up. The Blackout sale, only at Edwardstown Mazda and only in-store. Must end June 30.
Hyundai End of Financial Year sale is on now. Jump into the Tucson from $39,990 drive away at your participating Hyundai dealer.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
11 to 7, asking you the sorts of things that cost of living will never kill. Your guilty indulgences. Peter says it's buying Sturt merchandise and badges. Thank you, Peter. Andrew had a one-word response. Alcohol. Thank you, Andrew. Another from Con, who says, I indulge in 5 different paid apps to watch various soccer competitions. And I like this one. Good quality local produce, olives, cheese, wine, crackers, so forth. Life is too short for bad olives.
Yeah, totally. Con, you need 5 different paid apps to watch soccer, don't you?
You do. They need to be bundled in one place. It is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Chasing all the different leagues and so forth.
Can't remember which one you're meant to be watching at any given time.
Exactly. All right, let's head to the Weather Bureau. Hannah Marsh is on duty this morning. Hannah, it looks like we're going to enter a little bit of a dry patch.
Good
Morning, David and Will. Yeah, we do still have a few showers around this morning showing up on the Weather Watch radar. We have seen falls of less than 5 millimetres with 1.6 millimetres in the city gauge. But as you mentioned, we do have a high-pressure system that's moving in, which will clear the showers away. We are looking at a maximum of 16 for the city today, 15 for Elizabeth and Glenelg and Noarlunga, and 14 at Mount Barker. 16 again tomorrow, but we also see the temperature start to increase as we head later into the week as that high moves out to the east and the winds come around to the north. But there is a chance that we do see some shower activity next Sunday with another system moving through.
Good stuff, Hannah. Thanks for that. Hannah Marsh there from the Weather Bureau.
Senior Constable Liam Bennett joins us from SAPOL. And Liam, this suspicious death at Gilberton last night, what can you tell us about it?
Yeah, good morning, gents. Just after 7 p.m. last night, police responded to reports that a man had collapsed inside a unit on Walkerville Terrace at Gilberton. And when police arrived, they sadly found a 65-year-old man deceased at the property. And detectives from Eastern District, CIB and Major Crime attended the scene, and they determined that the man's death was suspicious. And just prior to this incident, police were called to another home on Walkerville Terrace after an intruder was seen in a backyard. The woman allegedly smashed a window at the rear of the property and gained entry while the occupants were inside. And police responded to this scene as well, and they arrested a woman who was taken to hospital for treatment of several lacerations. And following a complex investigation overnight, the 30-year-old woman from Gilberton has been arrested in relation to the break-in as well as the man's death. And she is expected to be charged with murder, and she will face court in the coming days.
Yeah, a few more details to merge on that one, I'm sure we get. Liam, Senior Constable Liam Bennett from SAPOL. Well, aptly and sadly, ahead of this next chat, I was reading yesterday, and it only just popped up fleetingly on news.com, a police officer in Tasmania during some routine pullover was shot dead. Just appalling. And there's no further details yet on why. Sounded like a routine traffic stop. And, you know, we had the honour the other day of sitting down in the wake of the, what's her name? Raina Jane Cruz case.
Anthea Beck.
With Anthea Beck, Constable Anthea Beck, all that she's been through. It's an apt thing to reflect on Police Legacy Day, isn't it?
Yeah, there are moments, there are news stories when you say there's nothing that surprising about a recruitment shortage. And I think in a local sense, it goes to things like, are police officers being adequately protected by our courts? And they've belatedly got that one right. Or it goes to walking into unpredictable danger like like that scenario in Tasmania. They are incredibly brave. It's incredibly important, the work they do, and it's why Police Legacy exists. And today is National Police Legacy Day, and there's a function on today to acknowledge the work, sacrifice, and just the daily risk that police officers take to keep us safe. Chief Inspector Kelly Watkins joins us on 5AA Breakfast. Kelly Watkins, good morning to you.
Good morning, Dave and Will.
So, Kelly, can you give us a sense? Well, I'm not trying to put you on the spot here. I don't know if you have the national figures at hand, but there must be a heck of a lot of kids and spouses who get support through Legacy. I mean, I can think of, sadly, off the top of my head, at least half a dozen cases, or no, more than that, where police officers have paid the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty.
Yeah, well, it's tragic, and I think that what we saw yesterday in Tasmania really highlights the dangers that our police face every day. And I just really wanted to acknowledge the family, friends and colleagues of this police officer who's unfortunately lost their life. And it's unfortunately all too familiar in this space where, you know, we've seen the loss of Jason Doig in South Australia on duty, the Wyambilla incident where we lost 2 officers in Queensland. And while we lose a serving police officer, it's really important to remember that there's a family behind that officer. There's parents, there's spouses, there's children potentially that have lost a loved one through, their family member service to the Australian community.
How long has Legacy been going?
Well, it's quite an interesting story. legacy began 54 years ago today in Queensland when a group of Queensland police officers that decided the informal tradition of passing the hat around to help their grieving families of a lost police officer just wasn't enough. They decided something more enduring was needed and something worthy of these families. And with that idea, they actually began the first legacy movement in Australia. And so what began as that real grassroots act of compassion amongst colleagues has grown into a national movement where today we have 8 police legacy organisations operating independently in every state and territory across Australia. And we are all united in a purpose that we stand with police families through life's most difficult moments.
Now, Kelly, there are ways in which our listeners can participate and support Police Legacy. You've got pins available, but also there are some participating florists as well. What's the full suite of ways in which people can donate to Legacy today?
Yeah, so today we've got Police Legacy pins that can be purchased for $5 at Drake's Supermarket and the Police Credit Union branches across South Australia. If members of the public would like to, they can head to our website and purchase a pin there also, or they could make a donation of support. We have several of our state's iconic buildings lighting up blue this evening in recognition of Police Legacy Day. And if you head to our website, you can have some details on participating florists in relation to Police Legacy Day. The connection to florists is that the logo for Police Legacy Day is the Michaelmas daisy, the daisy of the patron saint of policing, St. Michael. So it makes a nice connection to our legacy movement is the daisy of St. Michael.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I hope it's a successful day for you, Kelly, and I hope everyone gets behind and supports this wonderful organisation, Police Legacy, the SA branch, that are celebrating National Police Legacy Day today. Chief Inspector Kelly Watkins, our guest. Before we go to the break, a couple of texts on people's pleasures that no financial crunch will kill. Some really good ones coming in.
Yeah, really good variety. Michelle says, my indulgences are streaming services and e-books. I could probably live without the streaming services, but not the books. And what about our good mate Kaz in Brompton? Hey, Kaz, my kids, they've become addicted to tracing paper. On account of that gift you gave us that day we were at the Central Market. I have to go and buy some more from Officeworks. Kaz says, my guilty pleasure, having 6 different types of coffee beans, awaiting my choosing as to which one I'll grind for my 2 to 3 coffees a day.
Well, that sounds superb.
Here's one
Kaz.
for Quentin that should give anyone who's still on the darts incentive to get off the damn things. Quentin says, fellas, it used to be a guilty pleasure. Not now. My ex-wife and I, we used to spend more money on cigarettes than our mortgage per week. My lungs thank me for the last 12 years. I've replaced it with quality beef and lamb. And Maria.
I like Maria.
This is so good. What about spending $100 on a panettone that doesn't taste any different to a $15 one?
Keep them coming in, 8223 0000, or text us on 0448081395. Our wrap of the morning stories next, including some big moves in the mining industry here in South Australia. And we're going to take you to the scene of a suspicious fire.
Come on, do the renovation.
At the Home Show, see what's new in building, renovating, decor, energy solutions and outdoor living. Plus get free advice and buy at special show prices. The Master Builders Home Show, Adelaide Showground, this Friday to Sunday. Entries free.
Come on, do the renovation.
Details at kjex.com.au.
Dreaming of a getaway? Now's the perfect time. With the G'day Parks app, not only do you get access to more parks in more places, but if you book on the app before the 31st of August for travel anytime this year, you'll be entered into the draw to win free fuel for a year. A whole year of free fuel. Book to win and get away on us. G'day Parks, the easy way to get away. Here's good. G'dayParks.com.au.
T's and C's apply. Permit number ACT TP25/00645.
9 out of 10 people who are blind or vision impaired don't need to be. See Fred Hollow's vision live on.
What did he say? He says you can see quite well.
Please donate today at hollows.org.
Every eye is an eye.
At Simplicity Funerals, we have been keeping funerals simple and easy for over 40 years. Visit simplicityfunerals.com.au or call us 24/7 to get started today. Simplicity Funerals. Easy, respectful, simple.
The latest local, national and international news for South Australia. This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Possible showers and 15 with the 7 o'clock news. Good morning, I'm Jade Robrin.
Hydrotherapy at FIVEAA Extra Marion, including underwater treadmill, latest rehab facilities and highly trained physios. physioextra.com.
A 65-year-old man has been found dead inside a unit at Gilberton, with police treating the death as suspicious. Emergency services were called to Walkerville Terrace just after 7 p.m. last night, following reports a man had collapsed. A 30-year-old woman from Gilberton has been detained and is assisting police with their inquiries. Senior Constable Liam Bennett.
And just prior to this incident, police were called to another home on Walkerville Terrace after an intruder was seen in a backyard. The woman allegedly smashed a window at the rear of the property and gained entry while the occupants were inside. And police responded to this scene as well, and they arrested a woman who was taken to hospital for treatment of several lacerations. And following a complex investigation overnight, the 30-year-old woman from Gilberton has been arrested in relation to the break-in as well as the man's death. And she is expected to be charged with murder, and she will face court in the coming days.
A barbershop in Blackwood has gone up in flames after being broken into and deliberately set alight overnight. Police arrived at the scene just before 1:30 a.m. to find a burning jerry can outside the premises. It's a second attack on the business in recent weeks, and detectives are investigating the suspicious blaze. The state opposition is under pressure to release the economic analysis behind its stamp duty policy for first home buyers. Opposition leader Vincent Tarzia says his party has its own economic analysis backing the plan to axe stamp duty on existing homes, despite warnings it could drive up prices. But Treasurer Stephen Mulligan says it's not a helpful policy.
We suspect, of course, there is no analysis, that they've made this policy up on the run, and rather than actually helping first home buyers get into their first home, this is only going to drive up house prices and put housing affordability further out of reach for young South Australians.
The Prime Minister will reassure Donald Trump that Australia is a trustworthy partner as the US pushes us to double our defence spending. Anthony Albanese will have his first face-to-face meeting with the President tomorrow on the sidelines of the G7 summit in Canada. The government is not keen to increase defence spending at this stage and will tell Trump Australia already offers the US a range of support, such as maintaining warships and training Marines on our bases. Meantime, speaking ahead of the G7 summit, Trump says Iran is losing the war with Israel.
They have to make a deal, and it's painful for both parties, but I'd say Iran is not winning this war, and they should talk, and they should talk immediately before it's too late.
Members of the royal family have taken part in the annual Order of the Garter ceremony on the grounds of Windsor Castle. Europe correspondent Jessica Millward.
The Order of the Garter is the most senior and oldest order of chivalry in Britain, a spectacular royal tradition full of pomp and pageantry. The Princess of Wales missed last year's ceremony due to her cancer treatment, but she made a stunning return this year, wearing a white outfit she donned just a few months ago for the VE Day concert. The event is an annual meeting of knights and ladies at Windsor Castle, first founded nearly 700 years ago.
Advertisements will become a common feature on WhatsApp, which is the world's most used messaging app. Its owner, Meta, claims the content of the ads won't be influenced by what is being discussed in the chats. Professor of Digital Social Media at University of Southern California, Karen North, says it won't be unpleasant enough to drive people away from the app.
So they're going to put these ads in the status updates and channel updates section, not in your regular conversations. So people won't feel that they're infiltrating their conversations with friends and family.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Get up to $2,000 loyalty bonus when you trade in during Agostino Mitsubishi's end of financial year sale.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Jade. Port Adelaide's Jason Horne-Francis will be monitored this week after scans on a shoulder injury sustained in the fourth quarter during the win over Melbourne on Sunday. Teammates Aaliyah and Ollie Wines also underwent scans, with all three players to be assessed in the coming days. Still on football, Geelong defender Sam de Koning has had surgery to repair an AC joint injury he suffered in their win over Essendon. Coach Chris Scott telling Fox Footy he'll be out of action for several weeks.
He's optimistic that it's a 4-week thing. Some of the others think it might stretch out a week or 2 or 3 longer than that. We've got a bye coming up. He won't miss that much footy. We're optimistic that he'll be firing for the last part of the season. Certainly back well and truly before finals if we qualify.
Now, West Coast Harley Reid, meantime, has been fined for striking Carlton's Lockie Fogarty in the second quarter of their match on Sunday. The incident's been rated as careless conduct, low impact and high contact. Chelsea has made a winning start to its FIFA Club World Cup campaign, beating Los Angeles 2-0 in their clash this morning. The Blues scoring in each half to take all 3 points. And in some basketball to finish, the Oklahoma City Thunder and Indiana Pacers will face off in Game 5 of the NBA Finals this morning. The best-of-7 series is currently all square at 2 games apiece. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thank you, Tom. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Help the Jodie Lee Foundation fight bowel cancer. Round up your purchases in June at Star Discount Chemist.
At Tea Tree Gully, roads closed due to a burst water main. That's North East Road at Haynes Road. Got detours in place, but should be super slow this morning. It's super slow right now with the crash at Keswick. Richmond Road near South Road, delays back to Anzac Highway at the moment. Hackama Car Fire, Susan Road near Melinda Road and cameras, Chandler's Hill Road, Happy Valley and Elizabeth Way at Elizabeth. Hit the road in a new MG with end of financial year deals on a selected range of vehicles. Go to mgmotor.com.au, ends June 30. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now checking 5AA forecast.
Stay cosy, stay with CMAX. Visit cmax.com.au now and register your interest today.
And some showers expected today, 16. Also showers and 16 tomorrow. It's warming up a little bit more for Thursday and 19 degrees. Right now it is 11 degrees on 5AA, always Adelaide.
We open our doors to people we trust and care about. And for over 90 years, South Australians have been opening their doors to Rest Haven. In turn, we've been opening doors to an easier, better life at home. From personal care to help with the shopping and social outings, you'll welcome the care that Rest Haven brings.
All right, that'll be absolutely diddly squat.
Buy any vehicle from Southern Cherry before June 30 and you could win an entire year of groceries from Foodland. T's and C's apply. Licence number T25707. Driven by Australian Motors.
The news and issues that matter to South Australia. Always Adelaide. This is 5AA.
Hyundai End of Financial Year sale is on now. Jump into the Tucson from $39,990 drive away at your participating Hyundai dealer.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
9 minutes after 7. Good morning to you. If you're joining us for the very first time on this Tuesday morning, all things being equal, it's not that cool. 11 degrees doesn't sound great, but when you look at the forecast for the rest of the week, it's going to get as low as 6 tomorrow morning. Then we're in single digits as far as lows go, right through until Sunday, where it maybe creeps up to 10 and then a low of 8 and some showers on Monday. So all things being equal, as I say, it's not that cool a start to the day. It just feels that way. Stick around wherever you are, whatever you're doing, to a couple of big interviews we're going to be conducting this morning. Phil Curry from the Australian Financial Review is shadowing the Prime Minister at the G7 summit in Canada. We will talk to him ahead of the meeting with Donald Trump that's going to take place in the next 24 hours and get a sense of what has already been established and what is on the agenda and has been with Mark Carney, the Canadian Prime Minister, and what else Australia is happening to get out of this trip from the Prime Minister. So we'll talk about that with Phil Curry after 7:30. And then an hour later, the Governor, Frances Adamson, is going to join us on 5AA Breakfast. And this is going to be great. She wants to talk about a couple of her own trips. One to Vietnam, where she was talking education, and another trip that's coming up very, very shortly to India and the subcontinent. we mentioned right at the start of the program, her former life was as an Australian diplomat. She's been doing some travel, and she can provide a pretty unique perspective, both as South Australia's chief ambassador, but also as someone who's lived that life, lived in communities and represented Australia in the past. So that'll be a really interesting conversation, I reckon, after 8:30 today.
Amazing life and an amazing career.
Most certainly is. All right, let's jump into the news cycle this morning. And a couple of our biggest companies here in South Australia have been making moves. Let's start with Santos, which is the biggest company headquartered in South Australia. They have agreed to a $30 billion deal to sell to a consortium of investors led by an Abu Dhabi-based state-owned oil company. The board has endorsed the deal. A cash offer price of 28% above the share price was the catalyst behind this, so they made a really good offer. Now, this is intriguing for South Australia because there are elements here that the South Australian government does have control over that you wouldn't otherwise when there's a private takeover, because South Australia issues the licences when it comes to exploration and the access to these sites and so forth. So there can be conditions put on the sale by the state government. Have a listen to the Energy Minister, Tom Koutsantonis.
I'm not sure this will have an impact on power prices. I think the impact here is going to be on jobs and investment. It could be more investment, it could be more jobs. We don't know yet. So that's why we've got to take time to assess this.
So that's why his tone is about, well, you need to convince us, where typically private companies buy one, but it's not, governments don't have a stake. They do in this, and we do in this, because as I say, it's our biggest company. One of the conditions that has been made clear that the state government says is a non-negotiable is the headquarters stays here in Adelaide. And it sounds as though, according to the advertisers reporting, that the consortium have agreed to that they will keep it here. I just want to read...
That's also one of Extinction Rebellion's conditions as well, because otherwise, what will they glue themselves to instead?
That is a great question.
Well, you know,
maybe one of our listeners can turn their minds to on the text line, 0480 1395. I just want to read you a bit of the spin, so you can make up your own mind. This is what that consortium are telling us, the South Australian taxpayer, because we do have a role to play here. They have promised that the headquarters will stay here. They'll support local employment and local communities, accelerate investment in gas in Australia and the wider region to, quote, provide reliable and affordable energy and low-carbon solutions to customers in Australia, the Asia-Pacific and beyond. That's the pitch they're going to make here. It'll be the same but bigger and better. Okay. You need to convince the state government. So... we'll watch that one. That's a really big story for South Australia.
Well, the person who's going to play arguably the most important role in all this is the Federal Treasurer, because it needs to be assessed by the Foreign Investment Review Board. And the history of success when it comes to big takeovers from foreign interests of anything involving energy in Australia is not a good one. Doesn't bode well for this consortium, because the real biggie... this is when Peter Costello was Treasurer, was Shell. Tried to buy Woodside, and in the end, the feds, this was the Howard government, said, no, you're not doing that.
I'd love to know what our listeners' attitudes to this are, because I think reflexively people go, oh, we need to keep these assets in Australian hands. Do you feel like you've been particularly well served with your energy prices in Australia at the moment under this regimen?
I actually think, though, the history of South Australia, there is still a hell of a lot of hostility, and I'm sure it's going to come through on the text line. A lot of people, when you say the words John Olsen to them, they go, it's a sale. And they have this instinctive view. It's funny, people sort of complain about, bloody government, why do you trust the government? And the moment the government says, we're going to sell it, it says, oh, we like them more as government hands. But, you know, there is still a redolent view that we lost control of our power industry when we did that.
In New South Wales, they own the power.
Yeah. What's it called?
What's
Australia?
What's the average Talkback listener's view on that in New South Wales, by way of contrast?
Oh, I think they feel just as gouged as anyone.
Because I've listened a bit, and it's funny because here we say, oh, it's been sold off to private interests that have they don't care about South Australians. They're out to make a buck. Go over there and listen, and they'll say, this is a revenue stream for a government that doesn't care about South Australians. They just want to make a buck.
Yeah, they make all the money out of it. They're laughing all the way to the bank.
The other one that's a bit of news that might be of benefit to South Australian commuters. BHP yesterday announced a partnership with the transport company Horizon that will mean the copper that they move from Olympic Dam, Carpentina and Prominent Hill will be transported by rail now. They're going to build a $40 million depot at Pimba. It's expected to cut out more than 11,000 truck movements per year. They move 244 bundles of copper, each weigh more than 2,500 kilos via freight per day. That won't happen anymore. So big news from Santos and BHP overnight. This is intriguing out of the US. You've doubtless heard a little bit about this in 5AA News with Jade Robran. The Trump Organisation is announcing it's starting a new cellular phone service called T1 Phone by Trump Mobile. They're going to charge $47.45 a month. Do you know why that number might be significant?
Hang on,
$47.45 a month.
Was that the primary vote that he got at the election?
He's the 47th and 45th president of the United States.
He got more than 50% anyway, didn't he?
Just. Yes, he did.
That's right.
It'll include unlimited calls, text and data. They're going to build and sell a phone too at $499 that they say will be built in the United States. Have a listen to Eric Trump.
Well, you know, Maria, more and more we're using technology as a company, right, to correct the problems. Obviously, Truth Social was to correct freedom of speech, right? I mean, he lost his throughout the political process. Obviously, crypto, and we've got the biggest projects in crypto, was to correct another problem, which is the fact that they were debanking all conservatives. I was the most canceled person probably in the history of the country. And now we're doing Trump Mobile, and Trump Mobile is going to revolutionize cell phones, mobile calling. We're going to do it better. We're going to do it safer. We're going to have more functionality, more features. And the coolest thing about all these ventures is we're doing it right here in the United States. You're not calling up call centers in Bangladesh. You're not, you're doing it right out of St. Louis, Missouri. And you're going to have phones that are made right here in the United States of America. And they're going to have, it's going to be cheaper, $47 a month. You're going to have more international dialing for free, hundreds of countries, international dialing for free. It is the biggest bang for the buck, and we're really excited to get into the space.
And what this is politically is a shot across the bow of Apple, Android and so forth to say, we can make it here, we can make it affordable. Apple, of course, said, if we make phones in America entirely, they're going to cost thousands upon thousands of dollars. Well, the Trump family want to say that is not necessarily true. It'll be interesting to see what success, what traction it gets.
Would anyone buy the Albo phone?
I wouldn't have thought.
If Albo decided that he was going to, like Trump, use the authority of his office as a bit of a money-making enterprise on the side, or if you launch his own crypto currency.
Albo coin.
Yeah, Albo coin.
It is kind of extraordinary when you put it in the Australian context, isn't it? Be like Albo releasing his own cryptocurrency, making his own phone, and receiving a plane that he can use after he leaves office.
Your man Javier Milei did it in Argentina, but it tanked. He released a coin that was there's an ongoing investigation into how that all panned out. I think the El Salvadoran president's done one too.
Well, El Salvador changed their official currency to Bitcoin, did they not?
Yeah, but then they changed it back to the US dollar as well because it wasn't working. Got to pay for those giant prisons somehow, I guess.
Yeah. 19 after 7. A local story, a barbershop at Blackwood has experienced some sort of fire overnight. The cash man, Ben Cashin from 7 News here in Adelaide, is at the scene. Ben, what's happened, mate?
Good morning, David and Will. I am on scene in Blackwood where a popular barbershop has been gutted by fire overnight and police are treating it as suspicious. Crews were called to the Hall of Fade's barbershop just after 1 a.m. to find the shop engulfed in flames. The front window had been smashed and investigators believe a jerry can, which I can see out the front of the store now, was used to help accelerate the blaze. It comes just days after a Molotov cocktail was reportedly thrown at the same business, raising serious concerns about why this barbershop has been targeted twice in as many days. Police are on scene investigating. We're waiting for fire cause and crime scene to arrive.
Well, either someone's really upset about their haircut or there's something else going on.
Yes. And I can confirm here, I've just spoken with the manager of SA Pathology. The neighbouring businesses also have some damage, and I can confirm that will be closed for the day. So I know there's up to 80 clients that are expected to come through there. So quite an inconvenience. The closest ones are Marion and the Flinders Medical Centre. Really disappointing that some neighbouring businesses have been affected too.
Well, that's just it, isn't it? And, it's the same with the tobacco wars that we've seen where businesses next door end up bearing the brunt of it, often being damaged by arson themselves or being out of business for the day. So a huge inconvenience there for people who are going in for blood tests or trying to get results and so forth. But have the owners of the barber salon said anything?
They haven't been on scene this morning, and I think police are still trying to get in contact with them. So by all accounts, it's a very popular barbershop. Some clients, some other tenants in the building say they're nice people. Some other tenants have said they're not surprised by the attack. So you can make your own assumption there.
Good on you, Ben.
Thanks,
Thank you. Ben Cashin from 7 News here in Adelaide at that barbershop fight that you're going to see pictures of tonight.
To your point, Will, about how people will react to the idea of Santos being in foreign hands, overwhelmingly negative so far on the text line. Paul in Blakeview, boys, here we go again, selling off a South Australian business to overseas interests. Why do we allow this to happen? We're slowly losing control of our assets. Another one here from Jane with a Y. I don't understand why we'd want to sell any important asset like Santos to a Middle Eastern country.
But we don't own it. We're not selling it.
No, well, that's it. It's not.
We don't own it.
Santos is not a government department.
Like
it's a company.
It's a company. So what's its biggest shareholder right now? It's probably some private equity firm that's based in China or something or other.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not sure. What are we protecting?
One bloke who would have a pretty big dog in the fight, you'd imagine, is the CEO, Kevin Gallagher, because he'd have a whole stack of shares.
Yep.
In it, and that's not a knock on him. He's a great guy. He's done an excellent job by the state with the jobs and the expansion of Santos. One question I've got: if you take Santos out of the picture, what's the biggest company headquartered in Adelaide?
Great question.
Okay. Is it Coopers? Hang on. What about, in defence?
But headquartered?
Well, headquartered, no.
Because BAE doesn't have headquarters here.
No.
Let's think on that. 8223 You might have suggestions, folks. 0448 08 1395. What would be the biggest company headquartered in South Australia?
A lot of people, too, expressing great concerns about what this all means for Extinction Rebellion. Someone making the point that it's going to be very hard for them to glue themselves to sand over there in the Middle East.
All right. Let's check traffic. Thanks to Lynn Andrews, real estate experts in commercial and residential property management. LynnAndrews.com.au.
Thanks, Will. Teacher Gully roads closed due to a burst water main. Northeast Road at Haynes Road. Got detours in place, but should be super slow this morning. It's super slow right now at Keswick. That's due to a crash on Richmond Road just near South Road. We've got really big delays on South Road back past Anzac Highway at the moment. And Golfview Heights, 4-car collision to look out for McIntyre Road near Bridge Road. Cameras, Eastern Road, Happy Valley, and Ocean Boulevard at Seacliff Park. Where can you find the best local produce, great specials and food from around the world? Only in the markets. Adelaide Central Market, open Tuesdays till Saturdays. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA Mornings with Graham Goodings.
Imagine this, you're the head of a major organisation, you're employing tens of thousands of people, you're presiding over $980 billion debt and have predicted it will pass $1 trillion mark in the next few years. You tell all your shareholders that they're just going to have to tighten their belts.
Graham Goodings.
Then you stick out your hand for a pay rise for you and your senior management. Well, folks, that's just what's happening in Canberra.
Weekday mornings from 9 on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Hurry, end soon.
Last chance.
Don't miss it.
Virgin Australia knows there are enough brands shouting at you this end of financial year. So just quietly, if you fly in, fly out for business, join Virgin Australia Business Flyer and enjoy exclusive discounts on fares all year. Earn points for your business on your running expenses with over 40 partners and offers, which is quite wonderful. Join for free at virginaustralia.com/businessflyer. Fair advantage, eligibility, membership and velocity T's and C's apply.
For those whose pool is the main feature of their yard, Walco offer a special mesh cover to keep debris and leaves out while making your pool area look stunning all through winter. Join the great cover-up and ask Walco about their stylish new mesh pool covers. Walco.com.au.
Are you ready to navigate retirement with confidence? Join Keaton's free 3-part webinar series starting June 23rd. Hear from industry experts, including Daniel Gannon from the Retirement Living Council, and get real answers to your retirement questions. Whether you join one or all 3 sessions, you'll walk away with practical insights you can trust. Register now at keaton.com.au and take the next step toward a confident future.
I can't manage my pain. My pain manages me.
Too many of us suffer in silence with chronic pain from irritable bowel syndrome and endometriosis. But the search for a remedy is very close. As close as North Terrace and the labs at Samri.
Who will help me?
We can all help. So give now to take the pain away. To find out more, go to samri.org.au.
Hi, Pretty here for Mawson Lakes Mazda. With all the end of financial year deals we've got going, you really should be here too. All makes, models and colours are being cleared, no exceptions. And there's a huge range of low-K demos, all ready for immediate delivery. Plus, you'll get free on roads, free stamp duty, free 12-month rego and $500 worth of accessories. No gimmicks, just great deals. Mawson Lakes Mazda, Salisbury Highway, T's and C's apply.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Hyundai End of Financial Year sale is on now. Jump into the Tucson from $39,990 drive away at your participating Hyundai dealer.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
26 minutes after 7, coming up very shortly, Phil Curry in Canada. We'll talk to him about the Prime Minister's trip and his upcoming visit. We'll catch up with President Donald Trump. I'm just looking up to try and answer our former question about if Santos was to depart, not that it sounds like it will, it just seems like a stipulation of sale as the headquarters stay here, but what would become our biggest company, crediting In Daily with their list of the biggest companies that they released last year. Yeah, last year. Santos was 1. 2 would be Argo Investments, a sort of, there's just an investment company. They invest in stuff. Third would be Beach Energy. 4th, Coden. 5th, Thomas Foods. 6th, the Adelaide Airport. 7th, Elders. 8, Land Services. 9, Flinders Port Holdings. 10, Discovery Parks.
Wow.
I mean, Santos, you'd imagine, is an order of magnitude bigger than any of those.
Yeah. I thought BHP, but then no, BHP is headquartered in Melbourne, in Collins Street.
They do a lot of work here, but they don't. Their headquarters aren't actually here.
Yeah. Peregrine is up there as well in the top 20. And Thomas, you said Thomas Foods. They're about 3rd or 4th on the list. So, yeah.
All right, let's talk sport for a second, because last night on the Sport Show, Rowie and Timmy G were talking about the sort of bye being the point in the season when you reflect, you assess. Here's Rowie's assessment of how the Crows have gone thus far.
10-4 at the break would have been juicy. There's no doubt about that. 9-5 in the 8 is not bad. Got the best percentage, best attack, best defence. There's a bit to do, a few things to fix up. Stay sound with no injuries. My production piece will come out of the top drawer. I'm sure it will. So for those that put all those hours into it, it's not wasted. Just hold. I'm going to be professional and just hold.
All right.
So I'm happy where they are. Not ecstatic.
Yeah.
I'm happy where they sit.
So the production piece to which he refers was the one he had mocked up about the lid coming off if they won on Friday night, but it got stuffed back in the desk drawer, that one. So to be heard at a later date, you'll hear Scott Camporelli's assessment of how the Crows are going tonight on the Drive Show, all thanks to Unique Homestyle Foods.
The Tigers has got one of its halfway mark ladder predictors today that I had a look at before the show. They've got the Crows coming 4th. I reckon they're a bit rough on Port. They've got Port missing the finals, but for their prediction, because this is where they go through all the remaining rounds. So the prediction, they've got Port beating Sydney this weekend, then beating Carlton. After that, from the remaining 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games, they've got Port winning 1 of their final 8.
Oh, that's rough.
They reckon the only one they're going to win is against West Coast, and then Port, in the view of the pundits at the paper, Port lose their final 6 games of the year, losing to Hawthorn in Tassie, losing the second showdown, losing to Geelong in Geelong, Freo away. Freo in Adelaide, Carlton away, and Gold Coast in Adelaide. 6 in a row.
Hard to believe they lose all those.
I don't believe that.
And Jay on the text line says, Argo Investments was for a time in the 80s headed by Sir Donald Bradman, which is the case. Yeah. A bit of South Australian history crossover there with sport. 5AA News Time, Phil Curry in Canada at the G7 next.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Possible showers and 15 the top with the 7:30 news. Good morning, I'm Jade Robran.
Keep in shape with physio-instructed clinical Pilates and gym classes at 6 locations. physioextra.com.
A 30-year-old woman from Gilberton is expected to be charged with murder later today following the death of a 65-year-old man. Emergency services were called to Walkerville Terrace just after 7 p.m. last night. Following reports, a person had collapsed, but when they arrived, they found the man deceased. Senior Constable Liam Bennett says the woman was involved in a break-in before being arrested at this second address.
The woman allegedly smashed a window at the rear of the property and gained entry while the occupants were inside. And police responded to this scene as well, and they arrested a woman who was taken to hospital for treatment of several lacerations. And following a complex investigation overnight, the 30-year-old woman from Gilberton has been arrested in relation to the break-in as well as the man's death. And she is expected to be charged with murder, and she will face court in the coming days.
The state opposition is facing calls to release the economic modelling behind its plan to scrap stamp duty for first home buyers purchasing existing homes. Opposition leader Vincent Tarzia claims the policy is backed by the Liberals' own economic analysis, despite concerns it could push house prices higher. Treasurer Stephen Mulligan has criticised the proposal, calling it unhelpful and likely to worsen housing affordability.
We need public policy that is developed to actually help South Australians, not just designed to be an attractive press release. Today we're asking him to do the right thing and front up to South Australians with the analysis that he's undertaken, because we're really worried he's going to put housing affordability further out of reach.
Israel has attacked Iran's state television station as the conflict enters its fourth day. Iranian forces warning of retaliatory attacks. In Tel Aviv, Aussie citizen Manny Wax was talking to the Today Show when he got an evacuation alert.
As we speak now, there is now an alert going on. I'm just getting an alert that there are sirens about to blare, and it's warning us that we have to go find shelters.
At the mushroom murder trial today, the prosecution will continue its closing arguments in the case. Penelope Lurch reports.
The prosecution says there are 4 calculated deceptions that go to the heart of this case, alleging Erin Patterson lied about a cancer diagnosis as a reason to get the lunch guests to come to her home. She's accused of deliberately blitzing up death cap mushrooms and putting them inside the individual beef Wellingtons while feeding herself a non-poisoned version on a different coloured plate. It's also alleged that she pretended to be ill and told a number of lies to different people around the source of the mushrooms. She's also accused of lying about feeding the leftover meal to her children. Erin Patterson denies ever deliberately poisoning anyone, with her defence arguing this was all a tragic accident.
Tabcorp has been fined for sending more than 6,000 messages to VIP customers. The communication watchdog has handed the gambling company a $4 million fine. ACMA Authority member Samantha York says they're serious breaches.
Spam is frustrating to receive at the best of times, but when gambling is involved and VIP customers are being targeted with communications, there's a potential for genuine harm.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Get a 3K cash card on selected models during Agostino Mitsubishi's end of financial year sale.
Good morning, Tom Rett.
And good morning to you as well, Jade. We'll start with footy. Port Adelaide's players will hit the training track today as they look ahead to Saturday's twilight clash. That's against Sydney as they seek a third straight win. Much focus will be on whether Jason Horne-Francis, Aaliyah and Ollie Wines will play. All three have had scans after pulling up sore following the win against Melbourne. Meantime, West Coast defender Tyrrell Dewar has been named the AFL Rising Star for round 14. Dewar was one of his side's best in what was an otherwise forgettable game against Carlton on Sunday. Well, Australian cricketing legend Michael Hussey doesn't expect selectors to wield the axe after losing the World Test Championship final to South Africa. The top order has come under fire for their performance at Lords. Hussey says he'd be surprised to see a knee-jerk reaction.
It is disappointing for the Aussies, and I'm sure they'll look at it and try different, have a look at different scenarios perhaps, but, they generally don't panic too much or jump at shadows when, you lose a one-off game.
Let's go to soccer. Chelsea's begun its FIFA Club World Cup campaign in style, recording a 2-0 win against Los Angeles. The Blues opened the scoring in the 34th minute through Pedro Neto, before sealing the result in the 79th minute.
Delap sends in an early cross. They're not ready at the back for LA. And ghosting in is Enzo Fernandez. One of the superstars of this Chelsea side finishes a super move.
Yeah, audio thanks to Fox. A well-worked goal, that one, Jade, and that is the 5AA Sport.
Brilliant, thanks, Tommy. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Help the Jodie Lee Foundation fight bowel cancer. Round up your purchases in June at Star Discount Chemist.
Morning there, got a burst waterway getting fixed at the moment at Tea Tree Gully, North East Road at Haynes Road, got a few detours and delays through there at the moment. Also got delays with the smash at Keswick, Richmond Road near South Road with delays around that area. And we've got a 4-car collision at Golfview Heights, that's on McIntyre Road near Bridge Road today. Early morning cameras, Education Road, Happy Valley and Hub Drive at Aberfoyle Park. The BMW Expo sales event is ending soon. Don't miss your chance to enjoy savings equal to the GST on new BMW vehicles. Visit your participating BMW dealer today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now checking the 5AA forecast.
Stay cosy, stay with CMAX. Visit cmax.com.au now and register your interest today.
A possible shower and 15 today, partly cloudy tomorrow and 16. Warming up slightly for Thursday, mostly sunny and 19. Right now it's 11 degrees on 5AA, always Adelaide.
Signs you may have big D envy. You've been invited to a mate's house to watch the footy, but you decline. Another mate's having a birthday bash. You make up an excuse not to attend. And finally, you feel like your partner is comparing what you have to what your mates have. Avoid Big D envy. Get in touch with Big Difference Home Improvements. From outdoor blinds to stunning verandas, pergolas, timber decking and carports, Big Difference Home Improvements will change your life. BigDifference.com.au.
The BMW Expo sales event is ending soon. Don't miss your chance to enjoy savings equal to the GST on new BMW vehicles. Visit your participating BMW dealer today. BMW.com.au.
Aussies love the ocean, the sound of crashing waves, the vista of storms over the water. That's what life's all about.
And it's what Ocean Bar and Kitchen are all about, enjoying delicious dishes or just a drink with unbeatable views of Henley Beach from their heated balcony or inside through ceiling-to-floor glass walls.
Enjoy the sight, sounds and feel of the ocean, but what about the food? It's a mouth-watering menu, pasta, seafood, scrumptious snacks, huge range of cocktails and wines, and make sure you look up their weekday specials through winter, like their Pasta Aplenty night on Wednesdays.
And not only that, but the countdown is on. The Lexus Melbourne Cup Tour is making its way to Ocean Bar and Kitchen on Saturday the 28th of June. You can secure your tickets now for an unforgettable day filled with stunning views, premium wines, brews, canapes, and the glamour of the most iconic trophy in racing history. Limited spots are available, so secure yours now. Give them a call to purchase your ticket for Saturday the 28th of June.
And what a spot, Ocean Bar and Kitchen. It's on top of the Henley Surf Lifesaving Club. Ocean Bar and Kitchen from 11:30am till late. Enjoy.
Doing day-to-day things online has made our lives easier. Paying bills, shopping, banking. It all makes perfect sense to do online. But what doesn't make sense is doing your will online. It's fraught with potential problems and can leave a mess behind. From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, Donlan Lawyers can answer your questions and help carry out your final wishes properly. For wills and estate planning, visit donlanlawyers.com, Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide, and Ocean Street, Victor Harbour.
Here's an important air conditioning tip from Morford Air. Never give your teenagers control over the aircon remote. Your energy bills could go through the roof. Instead, for summer, set it around 21 degrees. It's the most energy efficient temperature. And if you turn it on early, before the teens are out of bed, your system will have less work to do, keeping your home cool all day. When it's too hot or cold to bear, reach for the Morford Air. morfordair.com.au.
Morford Air. Hyundai end of financial year sale is on now. Jump into the Tucson from $39,990 drive away at your participating Hyundai dealer.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
20 minutes to 8. We've got a jury coming up very, very shortly, breaking at 8 after 8 o'clock on a story that we've received lots of texts on this morning. So it'll be a follow-up that you'll be particularly interested in. But first, let's head to Canada, where Phil Curry is following the Prime Minister at the G7 for the Australian Financial Review. Phil, good morning to you, or good evening to you over there.
Good afternoon, actually. How are you, boys?
Good afternoon.
We're good, thanks, Phil. So have you been with Albo yet? Is he already there, Phil?
Yeah. We've been travelling for a few days. We left, I can't remember now, a few days ago. We went via Fiji, stayed a night there. We did a bit of Pacific diplomacy. Then we went to Seattle for 2 nights to do not much, announce a sort of an artificial intelligence Amazon deal. And so we were there for a couple of nights. Then we got into Calgary about 24 hours ago now, I think. I've sort of lost track of the days. And for the G7, which runs... it's Monday here, and it runs Monday and Tuesday here. Then we get to come home. And about 24 hours from now, he'll meet Donald Trump. And that's really, why we've come all this way. The rest of it's all been sort of make-work stuff. So it'll be the first face-to-face he gets with Trump.
So have you had much by way of a briefing about what Australia expects to come out of this meeting with Trump, or is it still a bit of a movable feast? What is or isn't going to happen?
Well, probably not much, Dave. I mean, there's a lot going on at the moment, as you can imagine, and we're not a member of the G7. The G7 is the 7 richest developed nations in the world. It used to be the G8, but they booted out Russia 10 years ago. So we've been invited, along with a few other countries like Korea, South Africa, to sort of do stuff on the side. We're like the fringe. So everyone is fairly preoccupied, as you can imagine, with what's going on in the Middle East. And, all the leaders are asking Trump to sort of take the lead and, sort of broker some sort of de-escalation. And he's not too keen. He thinks the Iranians have overplayed their hand here. So that tends to be the dominant theme. And in between that, everyone's having meetings with him, trying to put their own agendas under his nose. And obviously Albanese, when he meets him tomorrow, the main thing will be trade, all the tariffs that he's hit us with. And the other one will be AUKUS, because there was that announcement last week they're reviewing AUKUS, and that puts a sort of air of instability over AUKUS. So he'll be seeking reassurances from Trump on AUKUS, but he'll also be putting the case on trade. And as for that, I don't think we're going to get much out of him, because he met the Canadian Prime Minister a few hours ago here, and he's got a much better relationship with him, Mark Carney, and I've already met a few times, and he didn't really get far. They just agreed to keep talking. So I don't think Albanese is going in there with huge expectations as he's going to get a result, but it's basically putting a face to a name and then plan another meeting probably in Washington in September. We'll try and get something concrete out of him, but he's pretty mad over it.
What do you think, just if you're reading and talking to people, Phil, what's actually the order of importance for Anthony Albanese at this catch-up? Would he... If he could walk away with a resolution on one of the two things, would it be AUKUS or the tariffs, do you think?
I think it'd be AUKUS, given the state of the world and what's going on. I mean,
sure.
As bad as those tariffs are on trade, we got off pretty well. Like, okay, he's hit our steel and aluminium, but he's hit everyone else's steel and aluminium. So we're not too badly disadvantaged. But the tariffs, the Liberation Day tariffs on everything else we sell to America are 10%, and again, that's the minimum. A lot of countries got a lot worse than that. So competitively, we're still doing all right. We'd rather not have them, obviously. But on defence, the world's crackers, as you know, Will, and getting more crackers by the day. And so, China's not here, but they're still the sort of elephant in the room, despite what's going on in the Middle East, and they don't want AUKUS to fall apart for that reason. So they just... they don't want to be sort of blackmailed by the US into having to spend more on defence either, because we think we're spending enough, and he's going to point out to Trump, look, it's not just what we spend on defence, but we've got your Marines in the Northern Territory, we've got a big fuel reserve up there, we're tarting up a port in WA, so your subs can dock there. So he just wants to stick under his nose all the in-kind support we're giving the Americans in terms of military assistance to sort of, just get them to back off on the defence demands and leave AUKUS alone.
Do you know yet, Phil, when Trump and Albanese have their meeting together, do you know what the format is going to be? Are they going to sort of find a room and peel off somewhere privately, or is it going to be one of those sort of, open fire between them on the big settees and you guys are allowed in to take photographs?
Yeah, no, they're not letting us in apparently, but because it's out on the sidelines of the summit, so they have these special meeting rooms set up for these, because Trump's doing these meetings with every other leader here. We're just one of them. So it'll be that normal thing where they sort of stand there and, crack lame jokes for the cameras and shake hands and then tell us to get lost and go inside and and have their talks behind, in secret, then put out some lame readout saying, positive and constructive discussions, between allies, which tells you absolutely nothing. That's the sort of that's the format for these things. But it will be important that he actually meets Trump. They put a name to a face, and then that. But it's not. Nothing's. No, I wouldn't anticipate anything happening tomorrow.
Is Kevin Rudd there? Is Kevin Rudd there too?
Oh, of course he is.
Oh, really?
Away the stick. Yeah, no, he was. He was with us in Seattle as well. He's the US ambassador, so it's only normal that he would be both here and in Seattle, given we're meeting the US president as well. But
surely he's not going to be there to meet Trump, though, because Trump. given what Trump said about him and in the first instance, what Rudd said about Trump.
Yeah, we were discussing this today, actually, but I suspect he'll be part of the delegation when they sit down for talks, because Trump's got his, all his people here, his trade secretary, and all his cabinet ministers here, so he might be. Maybe Kevin will sit in the corner. He's got a beard now. Maybe he won't recognise him.
Very Groucho Marx glasses out of the Monster Fun show bag.
That's the one. Who's that bloke? Oh, he's just my friend. Yeah.
That's right. I'd never met him in my life. Excellent stuff, Phil. And you don't get an ice hockey game in or anything while you're there?
Nah, a couple of guys went to the baseball the other night in Seattle, but stupidly I sat up all night working. So you don't get a lot of time on these trips to do stuff like that. I'm too old to drink anyway, mate. It kills me.
Good on you, Phil. We'll catch up. We'll catch up again soon. Sounds like a great trip. Good on you, Phil Curry there in Calgary, Canada, travelling with the PM for the Australian Financial Review.
It doesn't sound like there's going to be any blockbuster headlines out of that meeting tomorrow. But we'll wait and see. It's Donald Trump. Who knows? Good luck predicting anything.
In the criminal justice system, all defendants are innocent until proven guilty, either by confession, plea bargain, or trial by jury. This is one of those trials.
We got a $100 Samtas seafood voucher to give away for someone who appears on the jury. All you need to do is call in and render your verdict. You stay totally anonymous, and you can win $100 worth of Samtas seafood. That's a heck of a lot of high-quality fish. For the best quality seafood and best prices, Samtas Seafood's open 7 days, factory direct. Richmond Road at Richmond. Simple one this morning. Would you eat a purple tomato? There is an Australian company that has applied for approval to start growing a genetically modified tomato in Australia that is the same colour as eggplant. The reason being is it has been modified to include genes from the edible snapdragon flower, which is apparently beneficial with antioxidants, something called anthocyanins. I'm not a chemist, so I don't know, but apparently it's very healthy and quite beneficial. It's the same stuff that makes blueberries blue and blackberries black. Eggplant skins comes in the same. Australian company have applied to say, we want to grow it here. We don't have a lot of genetically modified crops in Australia. Would you eat the purple tomato? 8223 0000, $100 Samtas seafood voucher on the way. GM crops, it was a huge issue going back 15, 20 years when it first came up. Interested in what the jury thinks this morning about the prospect of a genetically modified crop. A healthier tomato.
There's a black tomato.
Yeah.
There's a lot of striped green ones as well.
This is strikingly purple, this tomato. I'll show you a picture in the break. We might put one up on the Facebook and YouTube live stream. 8223 0000, $100 worth of Samtas seafood on the line. Would you eat it? The new GM crop proposed to be grown here in Australia. Traffic first. Visit Jarvis Toyota's new home in Brighton Road, Summerton Park, for savings across the Toyota certified pre-owned range.
Thanks, Will. At Gulfview Heights, nasty four-car collision on McIntyre Road near Bridge Road. Really big delays through there. Andrews Farm, a smash in Curtis Road. It's just before the Northern Expressway roundabout with monster delays back there too. And another crash at Keswick to look out for this morning. Richmond Road near South Road with delays on South Road. Cameras, Grand Scully Road, Chandler's Hill, and Andrews Road at Andrews Farm. Armour yourself to relieve symptoms of cold and flu with Bioceuticals Armour Force. Available at Chemist Warehouse. Chemist Warehouse, great savings every day. Always Always follow the directions for use. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
AutoCam. Look, this is real cutting-edge stuff.
AutoCam. It's new from Automasters.
Real-time video with a real-time report on my car.
Real-time video sent direct to you from your Automasters technician.
Check this out. There's the problem, there's the quote, and here you go, approved.
So good. Totally transparent instant SMS approval and Automasters pay later options.
AutoCam. The future of vehicle servicing here now. Call 1300 Automasters.
The passing of someone close places unique stress on family and friends. At this time, Farrell and O'Neill Funerals are here to provide reassurance and peace of mind. Farrell and O'Neill offer creative guidance and advice to tailor a service that best honours your loved one. Whether a large gathering or a small, intimate service, Farrell and O'Neill share their generations of experience in tailoring a unique and meaningful farewell. Proudly SA family owned and operated, because it's personal.
Deliver more with Toyota, the world's #1 forklift brand. Choose from a great range including pallet jacks, walkie stackers and reach forklifts, right up to their leading Toyota counterbalance forklifts. Legendary reliability and safety with cleaner, greener electric options. Toyota can tailor the right forklift solution for you. It's all part of the Toyota Forklift Advantage. For more, visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au. Toyota forklift. You deserve a bonus. You could be driving a brand new Range Rover. If you've been meaning to get your tickets in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery, now is the time to act. You could win one of 2 Range Rover Velas just for getting in early. And your tickets stay in more than 11,000 draws, giving you a 1 in 15 chance to win. Don't miss out. The deadline is midnight Friday. Visit homelottery.com.au. Licence M14727.
Check this out.
Real-time video with a real-time report on my car.
There's the problem, there's the quote, and here you go, approved.
So good. Totally transparent instant SMS approval and Automasters pay later options.
AutoCam. New from Automasters.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Hyundai End of Financial Year sale is on now. Jump into the Tucson from $39,990 drive away at your participating Hyundai dealer.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
In the criminal justice system, all defendants are innocent until proven guilty, either by confession, plea bargain, or trial by jury. This is one of those trials.
Putting a new genetically modified tomato on trial this morning for the jury. We've got a $100 Samtas seafood voucher that's going to go to one of the jurors who has convened. We're asking you, would you eat it or leave it? It could be available in supermarkets soon. The benefits apparently being for health. It contains a lot of the good stuff that are in blueberries and blackberries and the skin of eggplant and so forth. It contains good stuff, but if you put it in a tomato, it suddenly looks purple. We've got some pictures on the live stream at the moment that people are looking at. Would you eat it or leave it, juror number 1?
Morning, gents. I definitely eat it. I think the whole antioxidants thing is a great idea, and I'm prepared to give it a go.
Good on you, juror number 1. Thank you. Juror number 2, good morning.
Good morning. I'd eat it. Well, we changed vegetables and fruit already to make sure they're perfect when they get to store. That's probably not genetically modified. But could you imagine a lovely salad with that purple tomato in there? That would be absolutely colourful, and I'd be willing to give it a crack.
Juror number 2, thank you. Quite a pretty picture. Juror number 3, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, given that most of the modern-day fruit and vegetables have already had some sort of modification done, if it makes it more tastier and better looking to eat, absolutely, every day of the week.
Juror number 3, thank you. Juror number 4, good morning.
Morning, guys. That's a hell no. The next thing you know, we'll be having purple tomato sauce and purple tomato soup. Need to draw the line somewhere.
Oh, that's a bit more confronting when put in the sauce category, isn't it?
Would you eat a whole bowl of purple liquid? Purple soup?
Well,
purple ragu? Purple
borscht.
bolognese? Purple chili con carne?
Yeah, that starts to get...
borscht is...
It's
beetroot colour.
Yeah.
Borscht is good.
Juror number 5, good morning.
Good morning. Yes, I'd give it a go. You have purple carrots now, so why not tomatoes?
That you do. Yeah, it's a good point, Juror
but
number
I'd
5.
certainly give it a go. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Who wins the $100 Samtas seafood voucher?
Let's give it to juror number 2.
Juror number 2?
Yeah, for no Good reason.
All right, number two. You got
all great causes.
$100 worth of seafood coming your way. I know it would be unscientific to read too much into a sample of 5 people in a country of 26 million.
I know 80% of Australians will eat a purple tomato.
But I wonder if...
That's what our focus group shows.
I mean, there's no outrage on the text line coming through. I reckon if we did this subject 15 years ago, people would have gone, Frankenfood.
Well, I reckon at the end of her political career, Natasha Stott Despoja, when she was the leader of the Democrats, South Australia's own NSD, she was a huge crusader against genetically modified food.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's like, meh, whatever.
The whole gene science has become less confronting for people. Not in all of its aspects, but I think the idea was really it just made people feel icky a while ago, but it's been with us for over a decade.
I think
15,
where it got
20
weird
years.
was with the manipulation of animal DNA and things like that.
Yes.
And also the other thing too at the time, because I think people probably got the things all sort of collapsed into one in their head, even though this, from my understanding, originated from what the animals were being fed. But mad cow disease was around at the time, and I think people had this sort of whole Frankenfoods idea.
Yeah, that's right.
I'd eat one.
I'd eat
anything. So the only thing I won't eat is sweet potato.
I think the problem with the reason we in Australia have been hesitant to do this has been in part public opinion, but also in part because of the nature of being an island. We can control, this is our issue with the US at the moment, biosecurity-wise, we can really control the quality and what's grown here and protect it. And I think in the past there's been a concern that what if one of these tomatoes gets in with a seed for whatever, gets in with another crop, and then you don't have the original version being grown here in Australia. They all get polluted, for want of a better term. And so we've been sort of a little bit cautious with regard to how much of this we allow because we want to protect the real high-quality stuff that we're already growing here. Doesn't sound like that'll necessarily be an issue in this case. The other thing is Australians are now officially among the people most in the world who are sceptical about and hesitant to embrace new technologies. But we sit at if you poll all countries on planet Earth, it's generally Western countries, and Australia chief among them, who don't like the idea of AI. In the past, it's been stuff like genetic modification. God forbid we mention nuclear. There is sort of this despite the fact that we're a very advanced and technologically capable country, at a human basic level, all the polling suggests we don't love it. And it's often places like Asia where they absolutely embrace it. Europe's even ahead of us, but the US, the UK, English-speaking Western countries are a bit more like, eh.
I like to think I'm doing my bit and driving the numbers down in Australia.
You are doing yeoman's work.
Spent most of last week screaming in anger about the fact that the soccer was on Paramount. Whole world's gone to hell in a handbasket.
That is frustrating. That's a fair point. 588 News Time, breaking at 8 coming up in just a moment.
Australia's cheaper home batteries program is here, and it's your chance to save thousands on a new home battery system with NRG Solar. With up to 30% off a battery installation, NRG Solar can help you claim rebates worth up to $18,500. Whether you're adding a battery to existing solar or starting from scratch, this is the moment to say goodbye to your power bills for good. Visit nrgsolar.com.au or call 1300 858 160 and get ready for lower bills and real energy independence.
If you need to fix your pipes, call Precise. Call Precise. If your toilet's blocking up, call Precise. Call Precise. If your lights aren't turning on or your hot water is gone, or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Precise.
Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Call 1300 700 200. That's 1300 700 200. Precise Plumbing and Electrical. On time, on budget, on the job.
Or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Call Precise.
Hi, Daniel Talley here, General Manager of Home. That's HAUME. Put simply, we buy homes. We don't charge fees, there's no advertising costs or commissions, none of that. We just make the process of selling your home easy. So if you're looking to downsize and have a home built before the 90s, we'll be able to help you save time, money and the effort it takes to sell. Thinking of downsizing? Visit home.com.au. That's HAUME.com.au.
There was this huge spider.
Really silly place for a letterbox.
Seriously, there were cows all over the road.
At FIVEAA Panel Services, we've heard it all. But the one thing we hear often is, when will my car be ready?
In most cases, we can start work straight away, thanks to our state-of-the-art workshop and highly skilled team. Ask your insurance company for Premier Panel services. With over 45 years' experience, we'll get you back on the road sooner. premierpanel.com.au.
All right, that'll be absolutely diddly squat.
Buy any vehicle from Wayville Hyundai before June 30 and you could win an entire year of groceries from Foodland. T's and C's apply. Licence number T25707. Driven by Australian Motors.
The news and information that matters. This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Possible showers and 15 with the 8 o'clock news. Good morning, I'm Jade Robrin.
Hydrotherapy at FIVEAA Extra Marion, including underwater treadmill, latest rehab facilities and highly trained physios. physioextra.com.
Major crime officers are investigating the alleged murder of a 65-year-old Gilberton man in his home. Senior Constable Liam Bennett says police received a report of a person collapsed inside the unit on Walkerville Terrace at Gilberton just after 7 p.m. last night.
And when police arrived, they sadly found a 65-year-old man deceased at the property. And detectives from Eastern District, CIB and Major Crime attended the scene and they determined that the man's death was suspicious.
The 30-year-old woman from Gilberton has been arrested and is expected to be charged with murder later today. A barbershop in Blackwood has been destroyed after it was broken into and set on fire overnight. Police were called to the scene just before 1:30 a.m. where they found a burning jerry can inside the shop. It's the second time the business has been targeted in recent weeks. The escalating situation in the Middle East has reached a fourth day with Israel bombing Iran's state broadcaster. US correspondent Lauren Tomasi.
Both sides are widening their attacks with a volley of fire increasing between Iran and Israel. Today, Benjamin Netanyahu saying Israel is changing the face of the Middle East. Comments made as the IDF gave evacuation orders in Tehran before bombing the country's state media building. The broadening assault is leading to a climbing civilian casualty list and there is no end in sight. Iran informing Arab leaders it will not cease hostilities and the US president declaring Iran is not winning this war.
Electrical pulses could prove an effective way to treat type 2 diabetes. Australian scientists are using the pulses to regenerate the lining of the first section of the small intestine, believing it becomes inflamed in those with the disease. Head of diabetes research at Austin Health, Professor Elif Eachin, says trial participants showed improvements after 12 weeks.
Preliminary results showed that it helped with the management of type 2 diabetes. It improved insulin sensitivity and markers of and glucose biomarkers, and so it is an exciting trial.
All US states have now agreed to a $7.4 billion US settlement with Purdue Pharmaceuticals over America's opioid crisis. The BBC's Erin Delmore reports.
This settlement is the largest to date with individuals held liable for the opioid epidemic in the United States. As part of it, Purdue Pharma and its owners, the Sackler family, will acknowledge their role in the decades-long epidemic, including the production and marketing of highly addictive drugs such as Oxycontin. The settlement also ends the Sacklers' ability to sell opioids in the U.S. and their ownership of Purdue Pharma. It's still contingent on bankruptcy court approval.
And today is National Police Legacy Day, recognising the vital support given to police and their families during times of loss, injury or hardship. South Australia Police Legacy now supports more families than ever and has provided over $2.5 million in financial aid since its inception. To mark the day, Adelaide Oval, Parliament House, the Torrens Footbridge and Police HQ will light up blue. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Get up to $2,000 loyalty bonus when you trade in during Agostino Mitsubishi's end of financial year sale.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Jade. AFL great Matthew Lloyd thinks there's only 3 teams that can win the flag: Collingwood, Geelong and Brisbane, with 10 rounds to go. That's despite the Lions winning last year's premiership, sitting outside the top 8 this time last year.
They'd banged on the door for that many years that I think that's how you do win a premiership. The Adelaide Crows haven't been in the finals. I don't think they come from anywhere. So the Giants are a team who have banged on the door for a long, long period of time. So they're one that could potentially come from Hawthorn. They've just been too inconsistent this year.
Meantime, Port Adelaide's Jason Horne-Francis is in some doubt to take on Sydney on Saturday. That's after pulling up with a sore shoulder against Melbourne on Sunday. Teammates Aaliyah and Ollie Wines will also be monitored closely, with both nursing knee issues. To cricket, English fast bowler Jofra Archer is among the high-profile nominees for the BBL draft. Meantime, Australia's path to retaining the Women's One-Day Cricket World Cup has been revealed. The defending champions will begin their campaign against New Zealand on the 1st of October and will play 7 group stage games. Queensland and New South Wales players will have a light run today ahead of tomorrow night's Origin 2, which is set to be played in Perth. The Blues lead the best-of-3 series 1-0 and can wrap the series up with a win. And a huge game this morning in the NBA Finals series with the Oklahoma City Thunder taking on the Indiana Pacers. The best-of-7 series is currently locked at 2 games apiece. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Help the Jodie Lee Foundation fight bowel cancer. Round up your purchases in June at Star Discount Chemist.
At Goldview Heights, 4-car collision, McIntyre Road at Bridge Road. Really big delays through there at the moment. Andrews Farm, another collision. Curtis Road just before the expressway roundabout. Big delays there as well. Adverse Waterway getting fixed at Tea Tree Gully. This one's a northeast road near Haynes Road. Cameras, Coromandel Parade, Blackwood and Candy Road, O'Halloran Hill. There's a custom or personalised number plate for you. Heaps of colour choices available. Order from easyplates30sa.gov.au or Surface SA. A message from the Government of South Australia. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Stay cosy, stay with CMAX. Visit cmax.com.au now and register your interest today.
A possible shower in 15 today, partly cloudy tomorrow and 16. Warming up slightly for Thursday, mostly sunny and 19. Right now it's 11 degrees on 5AA, always Adelaide.
Setting the agenda for South Australia. This is 5AA, always Adelaide.
Hyundai end of financial year sale is on now. Jump into the Tucson from $39,990 drive away at your participating Hyundai dealer.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
7 after 8, breaking 8 coming up in just a moment. Then we're headed to Gilberton. A person has been charged with murder following suspicious death there yesterday. We'll get you across the latest details. That'll come up this half hour. Then after 8:30, ahead of our Best of SA dinner on Friday night, the Governor of South Australia, Francis Adamson, who's going to be appearing and chatting with us then, will be chatting with you after 8:30 today about some of the important trips she's been on recently, the Order of Australia merits that have been handed out. We'll talk to her about that process, where she's off to next, and a bit of a sense, because there's no one better to talk to about the way in which countries behave and how we engage with them in Australia than Francis Adamson, who's had an incredible wealth of experience in that space. So we'll be chatting with her after 8:30. Always a terrific chat. Stick around for that.
Well, the biggest story in Adelaide today, obviously, is the fact that Santos, which is South Australia's biggest company, has struck a $30 billion agreement to sell itself off to a consortium of investors led by the state-owned oil company in the Middle Eastern country of Abu Dhabi. What does this mean for South Australia? What does it mean for local jobs? What does it mean for the future of Santos having its headquarters still here in Adelaide? We're joined now by the Energy Minister, Tom Koutsantonis, to flesh out these questions. Minister, good morning, and thanks for joining us for a special Breaking at 8. What are the key concerns that the state government has about this idea?
We're worried about the headquarters, pure and simple. We're worried about the jobs, and we're worried about the decision makers who run now a global oil and gas company out of South Australia not being here anymore. That's our biggest concern, to be entirely frank with you, David. Your listeners might not appreciate this, but having a company the size of Santos based in Adelaide means that there are CFOs, procurement officers, board members. There are eyes on Adelaide, people who make billion-dollar decisions, making those decisions here in Adelaide, and they're making them about investments in Alaska. They're making decisions about investments in the PNG, in the Northern Territory, in Queensland and New South Wales, all out of Adelaide. A state-owned investment firm out of the Emirates buying Santos could mean we may lose that type of capability here in South Australia, and that's my biggest concern. Because once they're not here anymore, their eyes aren't on Adelaide. Will become a side office, which is my concern, which is why we passed that legislation to give us the ability to have a say if there's a sale process and a change of ownership, the South Australian government gets a say.
I wanted to ask about that, Minister, because we, the taxpayer, aren't totally helpless like we might be in other private acquisitions that take place. Is the mechanism that legislation? Is the mechanism the exploration rights that we grant here in South Australia? And how much leverage does that afford the state government and the taxpayer?
There are two pieces of leverage that Australia and the state has. The first one is the Foreign Investment Review Board and the Treasurer's approval at a Commonwealth level. So, because it's a state-owned investment fund, they would need the approval of the third board, and that's their first hurdle they have to overcome. The second hurdle they have to overcome is the state government, and the state government has passed legislation that gives us the ability that when mineral resources or gas and oil and gas resources are sold and there's a change of ownership over those production licences, mineral licences or exploration licences, we get a say in who the new owner is because of environmental concerns. The commodities in the ground are owned by us. We want to make sure that the right fit and proper person buys them. So that's their next step. So we're not going to rush to any judgment. We've got that mechanism. How much leverage does that give us? Given they're buying a lot of assets that are outside of our reach, things in Asia, things in North America, assets in Western Australia and Queensland. I don't know, but the processing facility at the Cooper Basin provides almost all of the oil and gas to the eastern seaboard in New South Wales. So it is a critical piece of infrastructure. No doubt the Commonwealth and the state will have lots to say about who owns it.
Minister, you guys, your government, unlike all Labor governments across the country, you've been passionate supporters and defenders of gas. One of the big issues that drives a lot of our listeners mad is when we talk about our own ability to rely on our own energy reserves. We see how much gas is exported by Australia. Do you think there's a risk that if Santos ends up being controlled out of the Middle East, that there could be even more gas leaving Australia?
I am. Look, the truth is, Pembo, I mean, even with Australian companies owning our gas resources, they still export a lot more than they use domestically because our domestic market's so small. This is the juggling act. If they don't have the export markets, we don't have the reserves because they don't spend the money to try and get the gas reserves. If they're only worried about the domestic market, we'd have no gas reserves, so they wouldn't be spending the money to try and get it out the ground. The question for us is how do we create an oversupply in the state? How do we create an oversupply in the country? And if you've got people who own these assets living externally, what does that mean for Australia's sovereign capability to provide gas to its own people? You might remember, I think, Shell tried to buy Woodside.
Yeah.
And Treasurer Costello, I think, knocked it back in the national interest. So this is going to be a very interesting debate about the nation's sovereign capability, whether or not we're comfortable with the proposition that's being put to us. But I don't want to be entirely negative. This could be a good thing. Having a massive oil and gas player who's looking at investing in new fields, because if you look at the Emirates, you look at the Middle East, they do invest heavily in getting gas out the ground. This might be a great outcome. We don't know yet. It is far too early for us to tell. So what we're doing is we're saying, look, we've got leverage here. We're involved in the conversation. We're not an automatic yes. We're not a tick and flick state where we just say yes to everything that comes before our desk. We're going to have a look at this. And so is the Commonwealth. And if it's in our interest, we'll agree. If it's not in the state's interest, we won't. I think the Premier put it best yesterday. Kevin Gallagher and Santos's job is to look after the shareholders of Santos. The Premier and my job is to look after the people of South Australia. So we're not as focused on what shareholders want. We're focused on what South Australians need. And we've done a lot to make the South Australian Northern Territory Oil Search, Santos, a multinational company that's worth billions and billions of dollars. And South Australians done a lot to make it that big. We deserve to have a say.
Can you put a condition on the sale from the state's perspective that there is, and I don't know how you'd phrase it, indefinite headquartering of the business in Adelaide, or could you put a time frame on it? How do you frame it up so a potential buyer can come to you and say, this is our proposition?
Well, look, the Commonwealth government did that with BHP. Remember the BHP Billiton merger? They required them to be headquartered in an Australian city, and they chose Melbourne. I always thought I should have chosen Perth, where they make most of their money. I'm not sure why they're in Melbourne, where they they banned gas exploration. But nevertheless, they chose Melbourne.
It's a big shout out to Jacinta Allen.
Yeah, well, yeah. But I think you can do that sort of thing. You can absolutely do that sort of thing.
And just finally, Minister, just to clarify, because some of our listeners hear this and they go, "Oh, Santos, Santos belongs to us." This isn't an ETSA type scenario. Like, Santos is a privately operated, shareholder-oriented business. In fact, Will said to me in the ad break, one of its biggest shareholders at the moment is a Chinese.
I think until 2021, the biggest shareholder was a Chinese group.
Yeah, so it's a different sort of. It's not a privatisation type debate, is it? It's about.
No. This is a privately owned company. It's not a South Australian owned company. Thomas Playford and the Knighton were out there starting at looking for oil and gas to try and wean the state off coal and diversify from coal away from New South Wales, who were extracting massive rents from us. And they did a great job, but the company has evolved and changed from government startup to private company to restrictions on how many shares they could sell to now being a fully independent ASX-listed company that has shareholders from around the world. And a lot of South Australians own shares, and it's a lot of South Australians in their super funds have Santos shares. So, this is a difficult part for us. This is a good deal if you're a shareholder. Is it a good deal if you're a South Australian? That's what we've got to try and work out.
Yeah. Hey, that was a fascinating chat. We appreciate it, Minister. Thank you. Tom Koutsantonis, the Minister for Energy, Infrastructure and Transport, joining us there. One other thing, are we going to have to replace the word Santos with ADNOC, which is the name of the Abu Dhabi oil company?
Doesn't roll off the tongue,
does it?
On all
of the cyclists' vests every January, the ADNOC Tour Down Under. Doesn't have the same ring to it, does it?
No. Well, I see a bit of angst about that in the people quoted in the paper. If the figures are true about how many people watch and go to this Santos Tour Down Under, I can't imagine I'll have any issue securing a new sponsor.
No. I think that... Yeah, naming rights for the Tour Down Under seems to be the least important part of this discussion.
Yeah, I think so. That last little bit is an interesting component. We'd have a lot of people listening that if you are super as exposed, or everyone's super as exposed to the Australian share market, and if part of your retirement is in Santos, you might see a 27% premium being paid on their shares.
Well, that's it.
As a pretty nice little dividend.
Yeah, there'll be a whole bunch of people licking their lips at this.
Yeah, exactly. And they not just the fat cats. All right, let's check traffic. And
I love the Victorian Labor Party broadside on the way through there. That was good.
They're just fair game, Victoria, I think, doesn't it? Like, political ideology just takes a back seat.
Even people in the Labor Party make jokes about them.
All right, let's check traffic. We'll come back with an update on this murder investigation at Gilberton. Visit Jarvis Toyota's new home in Brighton Road, Summerton Park, for savings across the Toyota certified pre-owned range.
Thanks, Will. At Golfview Heights, a four-car collision, McIntyre Road near Bridge Road. Monster delays through there at the moment. Also big delays at Andrews Farm with the smash in Curtis Road. It's just before the Northern Expressway with delays inbound. And Tea Gully burst water main getting fixed Northeast Road at Haynes Road. Cameras today, Candy Road, O'Halloran Hill and Eastern Road at Happy Valley. Panadol helps relieve everyday pain. Not the pain of your daily commute, but for the migraine headache it gives you. Panadol's got you covered. Always read the label and follow the directions for use. Incorrect use could be harmful. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA Sports Show. Rowie and Timmy G.
Can I make a formal official apology to the cricket gods? See, some things never changed. South Africa are still Australia's bunnies. That's a fact. They will never, ever beat us. They're our bunnies. Now, who'd have thought? Who'd have thought, Timmy, with our bowling attack?
The 5AA Sports Show.
Australia relied on our bowlers too much.
That's it.
Weekdays from 4 p.m. on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
A new battery rebate is here, and it's a game changer. The Cheaper Home Batteries program with NRG Solar makes smart storage more affordable than ever. Eligible homes and small businesses can save thousands, and households could slash power bills by up to 90% with a solar and battery combo. NRG Solar will guide you through and lock in the rebate before the masses catch on. Head to nrgsolar.com.au or call 1300 858 160. Don't wait. The smart move is to act now.
Introducing the Caliente by Beechwood Homes. A multi-level masterpiece of design, innovation and style. Inspired by the effortless glamour of Palm Springs in California, it's bathed in natural light through clever architectural design. At its heart, a stunning 6-metre island bench anchors a kitchen that's as beautiful as it is functional. The Caliente is open for viewing at 10 Simon Crescent, Craigburn Farm, Saturdays and Sundays 1 to 4:30pm. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home.
Some swear jars collect coins. But at Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, their swear jar collects promises.
Hi, I'm Renette, a designer of 20 years with Buy Urban. I swear to listen to your ideas and help create a functional space for you.
Hi, I'm Jasmine. I swear that all deadlines and production will be conducted efficiently and effectively.
For a team that swears to deliver on quality and service, see Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, Adelaide's home renovation experts.
Planning your next event? Choose a venue where everything comes together. Adelaide Convention Centre. It's where your vision and our expertise come together, where creative cuisine meets extraordinary productions, and excitement and innovation combine in a space that is truly world-class. From corporate gatherings to grand celebrations, we make every occasion unforgettable. Bring your event to life in a venue where it all comes together. Search Adelaide Convention Centre and start planning your next event today.
All right, that'll be absolutely diddly squat.
Buy any vehicle from Wayville Hyundai before June 30 and you could win an entire year of groceries from Foodland. T's and C's apply. Licence number T25707. Driven by Australian Motors.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Hyundai End of Financial Year sale is on now. Jump into the Tucson from $39,990 drive away at your participating Hyundai dealer.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
21 minutes to 8. It is the 17th of June. On the 20th, Friday night at Adelaide Oval will be Best of SA, the 2025 edition. Looking forward to seeing so many of our listeners there. So many of the great businesses across Adelaide and South Australia that we've been profiling during this segment will be there on the night as well, of course, because it's all about celebrating them. But we've got some more tickets to give away now. So if you'd like to come along, 8223 0055 is the number to call. You win 2 tickets plus a $100 Drake Supermarket voucher. Get calling 8223 0000. And on the night, among other wonderful brands, we'll be celebrating Maxima. I'm joined by Kate Tearley, the CEO of Maxima. Kate, welcome. What's the sort of top-line version of what you guys do at Maxima?
Maxima offers a range of services for both employers and employees, and we are really all about meaningful employment. Those services include temporary and permanent recruitment services, apprenticeships and traineeships, First Nations employment, and indeed supporting people living with disability looking for employment.
So there's 2 kinds of people that might be listening that would like your service. You've mentioned employers and potential employees, people looking for a job. What sort of people that are looking for a job typically would contact you that you can really help with?
Anyone in the community. We serve all of South Australia and indeed all of Australia across our sites. We're there to support them, and our mission as a not-for-profit is to create meaningful employment.
And on the other side of the ledger, we've probably got people listening with businesses who are thinking, crikey, I just can't find the right person.
I know, yes.
What kind of businesses can contact you?
I know, and I hear that all the time, and I get so excited because it's such an opportunity for us. It really is tough for business to try and find people at the moment, and I'd love them just to give Maxima a call and see what's possible for them. And we really want to see both business and individuals looking for jobs thrive and do really well. That's what this state is all about.
At Maxima, you want people to reframe what's possible.
We do.
What does that mean?
For me, it means both potential and possibility. It means that when we meet people that we're supporting, we don't see just the limitations of how they might see themselves. We see whatever is possible for them, and we help them realise their ambitions around employment.
You've been doing wonderful work for a long time. You've also been big supporters of Best of SA for a long time as well. So we're delighted to have you along on the big night, June 20 at Adelaide Oval. We'll see you there, Kate.
Yeah, delighted to be there. Thanks so much, Will.
We'll see Kate there. We'll also see Alex in Modbury Heights, who's coming along to Best of SA on Friday night. So there's not going to be too many more opportunities to win tickets to get along, and it's going to be a great night. And it will feature the Governor, Francis Adamson, who's coming up after 8:30 on the program this morning, in fact.
Adelaide has retained its spot on the top 10 most livable cities, according to the Economist magazine. We are 9th. The one part of this that sticks in my craw, Melbourne's 4th. No one from The Economist can have been to Melbourne in the last couple of years. Anyway, most livable city in the world.
What do they base that on? What's the criteria?
Okay, the criteria are healthcare, culture, environment, education, infrastructure and stability.
I bet it's infrastructure that costs us.
Well,
they would
they're
say
still
they're
trying to pay for that ring road that's been going on.
That's right. I'm not saying it's great. I'm just trying to think, by what measure would you say that Melbourne's better than Adelaide these days?
Yeah, I don't know. But they've got it rated 4th. The top 10 is Copenhagen, Vienna, Zurich, Melbourne, Geneva, Sydney.
Zurich is 3rd. No one wants to live in Zurich.
You went there, didn't you?
Yeah, I went there for 5 minutes. I went to a Starbucks.
Did you buy a cuckoo clock?
I went to a Starbucks, ordered 3 coffees and a pastry, and it was like something like 37 Swiss francs. It was like 74 Australian dollars. And I went, I cannot wait to leave Zurich.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That is insane. Osaka is 7th, equal with Auckland. Then we in 9th.
Is good.
Vancouver is 10th.
Everyone loves Vancouver. I've never been there before.
Yeah, I've never been to Canada. The least livable cities in the world.
Oh.
Caracas.
Yeah.
The aforementioned Caracas, capital of Venezuela. Kyiv. That's sad, because I reckon 4 years ago, Kyiv might have been in the top 50 most livable. It's now...
How's Kyiv there, but not,
Kabul. Kabul's not there.
No, but not...
Mogadishu's not there.
I'm thinking of cities in the eastern part of Ukraine.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Kyiv's got to be more livable than Kharkiv at the moment.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway.
Port Moresby, Harare, Lagos, Algiers, Karachi, Dakar, Tripoli and Damascus. I tell you what, the breakfast show in Mogadishu this morning, they'll be punching the air for joy that they're not mentioned in dispatches. What about Port-au-Prince in Haiti? That whole city's run by gangs and voodoo priests. How do they not get in there?
Yeah, I think we need a forensic examination of what's going on.
How did Melbourne get in there?
Maybe they're on the wrong list.
You know what's interesting, though? Pretty much all the cities in the top 10 are smaller by global standards.
Yeah.
And, the fact that Karachi, for example, isn't there. Like, a lot of those Indian cities, they're in there because there's just too many bloody people. Like, it's just off the charts. We're 9th. London is 54th. New York 69th. Because they're the sort of places you go to those cities and you go, oh, wow, the city that never sleeps, there's so much to do. But do you want to live there?
Yeah.
Can you afford to live there? You can't buy a house there.
No. 27 after 8. Back here in Adelaide, a big developing story overnight. A investigation into a suspicious death at Gilberton has led to a murder charge. Kelly Hughes for 9 News is covering the story this morning. Kelly, just for our listeners waking up or tuning in, bring them up to speed with what's happened there at Gilberton and what we've learnt thus far.
Good morning, guys. Well, yeah, I'm just here on Walkable Terrace at Gilberton, just a 5-minute drive from the city. And, there's quite an incredibly heavy police presence here. There's about 10, 12 detectives as well as a crime scene investigation. Forensics are also going in after they discovered a 65-year-old man deceased inside a block of units that I'm just standing out the front now. Detectives have been on scene and police, a very strong presence here since about 7 o'clock. They found this man last night. And since then, a woman has actually been arrested, a 30-year-old woman from Gilberton, who we believe, just chatting to neighbours, also lived in this block of units. She was arrested at the scene last night. Actually, she was caught allegedly breaking into some units, and that's how they were alerted to the body in this house. But, yeah, incredibly sad this morning. A few neighbours that we've been chatting to said they knew this gentleman, this 65-year-old man who was, very loving and caring and actually had a carer as well. So we believe it was the carer who found him last night.
Just a horrible, horrible story, Kelly. Thanks for that. Kelly Hughes at the site of the Gilbert murder investigation for 9 News Adelaide.
All right, we're going to take a break. 5AA News is not too far away. On the other side of it, the Governor of South Australia, Francis Adamson, will join us on 5AA Breakfast.
It's back, the Animal Expo. There's animals galore, pet products and expert advice. Talk with breeders, cuddle the animals and be entertained. It's a great family day out. Animal Expo, Adelaide Showground this Saturday and Sunday. kjex.com.au.
Adelaide's local, trusted and truly connected talkback radio station. 5AA. Always Adelaide.
What's on your bucket list? Cruising around the world? Doing a hot lap around Bathurst? Learning how to play drums? Before you plan a bucket list, plan your will with Donlan Lawyers. A will, power of attorney and advanced care directive speak for you when you can't. It means you and your loved ones will be taken care of. Visit donlanlawyers.com. Put it on your bucket list. Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide and Ocean Street, Victor Harbour.
Your baby's mind is growing even before they arrive. The more you talk and sing and play, the more their mind will thrive. Gotta talk with your baby, play with your baby, read to your baby, make out you're a lion. Talk with your baby, play with your baby, read to your baby. Your words will grow their mind. Every time you interact with your child, you're helping grow their mind. For more information, visit wordsgrowminds.org.au.
This is 5AA News, always Adelaide.
Possible showers and 15 degrees with the 8:30 news. Good morning, I'm Jade Robrin.
Keep in shape with physio-instructed clinical Pilates and gym classes at 6 locations. physioextra.com.
A 30-year-old woman from Gilberton is expected to be charged with murder later today following the death of a 65-year-old man. Emergency services were called to Walkerville Terrace just after 7 p.m. last night following reports a person had collapsed. But when they arrived, they found the man deceased. Senior Constable Liam Bennett says the woman was involved in a break-in before being arrested at the Gilberton address.
Police responded to this scene as well, and they arrested a woman who was taken to hospital for treatment of several lacerations. And following a complex investigation overnight, the 30-year-old woman from Gilberton has been arrested in relation to the break-in as well as the man's death.
The state opposition is being urged to release the economic modelling behind its plan to scrap stamp duty for first home buyers purchasing existing properties. Opposition leader Vincent Tarzia says his policy is supported by the Liberals' own economic analysis. Despite expert warnings, it could increase demand and push up prices. Treasurer Stephen Mulligan says it'll do more harm than good.
We suspect, of course, there is no analysis. That they've made this policy up on the run, and rather than actually helping first home buyers get into their first home, this is only going to drive up house prices and put housing affordability further out of reach for young South Australians.
US President Donald Trump is calling for the immediate evacuation of Iran's capital as fresh Israeli strikes hit Tehran. The White House says it's deploying additional defence capabilities to the Middle East. Israel has also detected incoming missiles fired by Iran, ordering civilians to take shelter. Australian Manny Wax has told Today the situation is ever-changing.
As we speak now, there is now an alert going on. I'm just getting an alert that there are sirens about to blare, and it's warning us that we have to go find shelters.
And security and defence issues will dominate the G7 as the annual summit of key world leaders gets underway in Canada. Later today, the Prime Minister has meetings with new South Korean President and the head of NATO. But the country is waiting for Anthony Albanese's first face-to-face meeting with Donald Trump. Financial Review's Phil Currie says there will be a lot on the agenda.
Albanese, when he meets him tomorrow, the main thing will be trade, all the tariffs that he's hit us with, and the other one will be AUKUS, because there was that announcement last week they're reviewing AUKUS, and that puts a sort of air of instability over AUKUS. So he'll be seeking reassurances from Trump on AUKUS, but he'll also be putting the case on trade.
The father of an Australian teenager who died after consuming methanol at a Laos hostel says it's heartbreaking to learn the venue is trying to reopen. The Nana Backpacker Hostel, where 19-year-olds Holly Bowles and Bianca Jones were served drinks containing the deadly substance, closed after the incident, but is reopening its doors under a new brand. Holly's father, Sean, says it's more heartbreaking news.
It's probably some of the worst news that we've received of late. They're just trying to put a painted coat on the place, reopen like nothing has happened. And we've been given no updates as to whether anyone will be charged or what is happening. It's just radio silence for us.
Evidence of human occupation dating back to the Ice Age has been found at the site of a cave near Lithgow in New South Wales. Archaeologists say artefacts found at the Hatters Hideout Cave make it the oldest high mountain site continually occupied by humans in Australia. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Get a $3K cash card on selected models during Agostino Mitsubishi's end of financial year sale.
Jumping into our own little cave here, Tom Wren, good morning.
We are in a bit of a cave, aren't we? We're going to start with some footy, Jade. Port Adelaide, they're going to be sweating on the fitness of several stars ahead of Saturday's clash against Sydney at home. Jason Horne-Francis is one of them after hurting his shoulder against Melbourne. He had scans yesterday and he's hopeful the injury isn't serious despite feeling sore during the clash against the Demons.
They jabbed it and they thought it would maybe work. They weren't 100% sure that it would take the pain away, but it didn't seem to take the pain away as much as what I thought.
Audio there thanks to Nine. Aaliyah and Ollie Wines are also nursing sore knees. Meantime, the AFL has offered a spirited defence of Thursday night football after last week's dismal turnout. Jordan Tunbridge reports.
Around 20,000 turned out to watch St Kilda get thumped by the Western Bulldogs at Marvel Stadium, by far the lowest attended Thursday night game of the season. Saints coach Ross Lyon was quick to question the time slot, saying it's tough on clubs and challenging for families, especially with kids having school the next day. But AFL boss Andrew Dillon has defended the fixture, telling Jake Nile at The Age the dismal turnout was a one-off. And the data backs him up. Attendances for Thursday games prior to last week were up 10% on last year, averaging about 45,000.
And in some cricket to finish, Australia's defence of the ODI Women's World Cup title will begin against New Zealand on the 1st of October in India. The reigning champions will play 7 group games. The 4 best teams will progress to the semi-finals. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thank you, Tom. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Help the Jodie Lee Foundation fight bowel cancer. Round up your purchases in June at Star Discount Chemist.
At Goldview Heights, 4-car collision, McIntyre Road near Bridge Road. Really solid delays through there. Ellery's Farm was smashed on Curtis Road. It's just before the Northern Expressway. Roundabout got delays clearing, so that's good there. And burst water main at Tea Tree Gully getting fixed North East Road at Haynes Road. Cameras Campbell Road, Elizabeth Downs and Hub Drive at Aberfoyle Park. The sale is on at Fantastic Furniture. Save up to $250 on sofas, beds, desks, storage and more. Shop online or in-store today. Don't wait. Find your Fantastic. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Stay cosy, stay with CMAX. Visit cmax.com.au now and register your interest today.
A possible shower and 15 today, partly cloudy tomorrow and 16. Warming up slightly for Thursday, mostly sunny and 19 degrees. Right now, though, it is 11 degrees on 5AA, always Adelaide.
Your old hot water system can drive as much as 40% of your energy bill. Fortunately, you can upgrade to something that's 70% cheaper to run thanks to Right Price. They're the leaders in heat pumps and installation. Now's the time to upgrade and save money on a more efficient hot water system and take advantage of government incentives and free installation. Reduce your energy cost today with a heat pump from Right Price. Make the switch with Right Price Hot Water.
At Right Price, heating and cooling, you can get the price right at Right Price.
Our place is your place at the Albion Hotel. Your place to raise a glass to a big sporting win, a milestone birthday, or just making it through the week. Cheers. Your place to bring the entire family, including the kids and grandkids, for an amazing meal together. Your place to sit back and just soak it all in. The Albion Hotel. Your local, your people, your place.
If you need to move from A to B this winter, your best move is hiring from Budget Car and Truck Rental.
To get started, you'll need boxes and tape for storage and furniture covers to keep your possessions pristine. Well, Budget has you sorted.
Then you'll need the perfect set of wheels, and Budget has them all. Cars big and small, moving vans and trucks available on a standard driver's licence, plus utes, hybrids, trailers, 12 to 25 seat buses and more.
Once you've chosen a vehicle, grab Budget's blankets and a trolley to ensure the move goes smooth.
Job done easy with Budget, a family-owned business with friendly staff you can count on and multiple locations across SA.
Got something big to budge? Well, Budget with a Budget rental truck. Call 13 27 27.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Hyundai end of financial year sale is on now. Jump into the Tucson from $39,990 drive away at your participating Hyundai dealer.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
21 minutes to 9. Big week on 5AA, always is with Best of SA on Friday night. We celebrate great South Australian brands and companies, and we share the evening with our listeners. It's a wonderful night, and it's going to be made all the more special this year because we're going to be joined by our next guest on the evening, Her Excellency, the Governor of South Australia, Frances Adamson. Governor, good morning to you.
Good morning, David and Will, and to your listeners as well.
We always love having you on, Governor, and we are particularly excited, Your Excellency, that you're going to be coming along Friday night because it means a lot to us, but also to our listeners. And
well, it means quite a lot to me, can I say, as well. I mean, I think this is the third time you've invited me, and finally I'm able to accept your invitation, so I'm really looking forward to it.
No, it's going to be a lot of fun. You've had a pretty busy, well, you're always busy, but you've had a particularly busy dance card of late with some overseas travel as well.
Yes, I do a couple of visits overseas each year to promote South Australia, and typically they're into the Indo-Pacific region, as we call it. And this year I've been in Southeast Asia, in Cambodia, Vietnam and the Philippines, and on the weekend I'm heading off to, in fact, more or less straight after your event on Friday night, heading off to Sri Lanka and India for the best part of a week, again to promote South Australia, to promote our education, our wine, agribusiness, green energy, tourism, all the wonderful things that you were talking about, some of which you were touching on when you were mentioning Adelaide's top 10 status again.
No, a deserved accolade, that one for sure.
How big a part, when you're selling education at the moment, Your Excellency, is the new university merger?
Well, look, it's certainly, I think it's on people's radar, and when I travel, I normally, it's not so much have with me, governors don't travel with big delegations, but Adelaide University and Flinders University are normally there when I am wherever I am, and I'm also patron of Study Adelaide. So there is an awareness and I think a degree of an excitement too about the new university. People can instantly see the success of it when it's the rationale for it when it's explained, and of course what countries overseas are looking for is not only to send students here for an education, and that of course can be in our secondary schools as well as our universities, but they're also looking for delivery of education in their own countries by our institutions, and also joint research projects. So I think it's well understood, or it seems to be pretty well understood overseas. Education agents are aware. I talk to governments about it in my meetings as well too, and I think they see it as a logical thing to do, and not so much of a difference of what it's been before.
I'm always loath to ask questions to you, Your Excellency, that can drift into commentary about current affairs and so forth, but I'll do it anyway.
Your chance you are.
So when you were the Departmental Secretary for Foreign Affairs and Trade, and also when you were Australia's ambassador in China, you were an advocate, I suppose an advocate on behalf of the government of the day, but an advocate all the same for free trade, and you did a lot of work in China at the time that we struck the free trade agreement with China.
Yes.
Do you see the world sort of recoiling back into a new sort of more protectionist era at the moment? And what do you think the challenges or indeed conversely opportunities are for a state like South Australia in that environment?
Well, I think, it would be hard to argue that the world has got easier in the last 5 years. Clearly it hasn't. And some of what we see you could certainly categorise as protectionist. But at the same time, we've seen, and South Australian companies have been beneficiaries of, the continued negotiation of free trade agreements. And there was a first free trade agreement negotiated with India in 2022, a closer economic and trade arrangement. That's actually been delivering substantial benefits across the country, actually, through the reduction of tariffs. But one thing that's been quite important for South Australian almond growers is that reductions of tariffs in India have really opened up that market. And one of the things I'll be doing when I'm in New Delhi is sitting down with a group of almond importers to see whether those South Australian almonds can be even imported in even larger quantities. So look, I think there are certainly opportunities, and the big picture is really that other countries, companies, traders are looking for stability and reliability. And I think when you start thinking about significant economies, we're still the world's 14th largest economy. When you look at the size of our economy, when you look at our legal system, our stability, our democracy, we're a pretty attractive partner, a partner in all sorts of things, but certainly for trade and investment. And that, if you like, has been one of the things that's come through pretty strongly in my travel over the last couple of years on behalf of South Australia, is just how highly regarded we are. People want to meet us, they want to do business with us, they want to explore opportunities for partnership. And part of the reason they're doing that is they're hedging. You know, they're spreading their risks, they're diversifying their markets, and they see us as a desirable partner. And that's a good place to be, given what we're producing, the know-how that we have, and the way we think about the world from a South Australian perspective.
We're also producing some remarkable Australians, and they get honoured with the King's Birthday Honours List, the Order of Australia, which is celebrating its 50th year this year. Were there any stories that you were particularly taken by this year?
Oh, look, I'm always taken with stories. I mean, I get about 24 hours earlier notice to know what's coming. I don't know before that, but I sit down immediately and I write to all of the South Australian recipients, and amongst those are always some I know, have had an opportunity to meet as governor, and some I don't know. But there were 74 recipients from South Australia in the King's Birthday Honours List, and you're right, our Australian honours system is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year, and over that time, let's just say, we typically get 60 or 70, let's just say 70 South Australian recipients in the King's Birthday Honours List and in the Australia Day Honours List. So, you know, that's 140 people a year. Over 50 years, that may not be exactly, might have been lower numbers early on, but that you think of the number of South Australians. I mean, in my term as governor, I will have met about 750 recipients, and they are people who've given outstanding service or whose achievements have been exceptional, whether they're in local communities across the state, whether what they've done has had some actual statewide impact or indeed national or international impact. And this past honours list, Professor Roger Bayard was appointed a Companion of the Order of Australia. That's relatively rare. That's the top honour for services to medicine and forensic pathology. And I think anyone who read the interview with him in the Advertiser would have realised just why he received that award. What a man. And then you have someone like Roy Coulthard, who's an Adna Mutner Elder, received an Order of Australia medal, or he will be invested with that in September when we have those ceremonies, for services to Indigenous communities. Henry Young, you know, young by name, not young by age anymore, the 102-year-old war veteran and the world's oldest competitive tennis player. I've had the pleasure of meeting Henry several times, and he's still playing tennis, and he's being honoured for services to veterans and services to tennis. So there's just no end to the things that inspire people, that drive them to contribute to their communities. And fortunately, Australians typically are on the lookout for these people, and that's what I want to encourage your listeners to do today. I would guarantee that some of them have had on their minds for a while, I must nominate, insert name of person you know, for an award in the Order of Australia. And what better time to do it than now? You simply go onto the web, search. Well, you don't have to search very hard to find the Governor-General's website, but it's there, and then you work through the process, which has been made much more friendly than it used to be. It can all be done online and relatively easily, but that will then ensure that other South Australians worthy of this kind of recognition can receive it.
We had a great chat a few weeks ago with the, what's his title, Lieutenant Governor Richard Harris.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
We had a wonderful chat. And
He's excellent.
We were talking about your career, Governor, and what a remarkable life you've had, because the theme of the discussion with Richard Harris that day was exploration. And we described you on air, I'm not sure if you heard the interview, but we described you as an explorer because your life's taken you to so many sort of wonderful places and, working as Chief of Staff to an Australian Defence Minister, heading up the embassy in China, working in Hong Kong, in London. It must have just been like a thrill doing so many different things through your passion and aptitude for diplomacy.
Well, it has been. I must say I missed that. I wish I'd heard it. And funnily enough, as I was growing up, I thought to myself, what a pity the age of exploration is really over. But actually it's not. And I don't think it is even now because, yes, I've done what you've said I've done, and I very much enjoyed doing that. But just as much, if not more, I enjoy my current role, which takes me across the length and breadth of South Australia, meeting amazing people, seeing wonderful things. And I sometimes wonder to myself, I spent all that time overseas, and now I've still got some catching up to do in our wonderful state.
Yeah. Hey, great chatting to you again, Governor, and we very much look forward to your company this Friday night with our listeners at the Best of SA. Thanks so much for coming on.
See you on Friday. Bye.
Always love chatting to
fascinating person. Yeah, terrific to chat with. And that's going to be really fun on Friday night as well.
She's a good argument for any opportunity that comes along to take yourself out of your comfort zone and to just do something.
Yeah.
Like how many situations would she have found in her life and growing up in that remarkable family with Jennifer Cashmore, the late Jennifer Cashmore as her mum, who was a trailblazer in her own right as well. Pity the state didn't pay more attention to what she was saying in the lead up to the state bank collapse because she'd been the only one banging on about it accurately, falling on deaf ears on both sides of politics for a very long time. But yeah, just totally remarkable career.
All right, we're going to check traffic and we'll come back to wrap shortly. Visit Jarvis Toyota's new home in Brighton Road, Summerton Park, for savings across the Toyota certified pre-owned range.
At Goldview Heights, a four-car collision, McIntyre Road near Bridge Road. Got delays clearing through there. Greenfields, another collision, Salisbury Highway to Ryans Road, and Tea Tree Gully burst Watermain Northeast Road at Haynes Road. Ross Trevor burst Watermain there, Montague Road near Julia Drive with a camera, Eastern Road, Happy Valley. It's the everyday moments that matter most when your child is ill or injured. You can help family life carry on at Ronald McDonald House. Donate today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Did you know 95% of your old mobile phone is recyclable? Metals, batteries, plastics and glass, all ready for a new life as new things. Like bottles, crates, roads, sunglasses and even new tech. That means less mining and more for the environment. Recycle your old phones with Mobile Muster today and make an impact. Visit mobilemuster.com.au for more information.
It all started in the back shed. Maybe it started early or late. Either way, the Olympic Industry sale means there's no need to wait. With big savings on our entire range of SA-engineered sheds, garages, carports and verandas, you can afford to start something big, tough or tasty in your own backyard. Start something with the Olympic Industry sale. On now.
Looking to understand what the 25-26 state budget really means for business in South Australia? Well, don't miss the 2025 Economic Outlook Luncheon on Wednesday, June 25, featuring an exclusive interview with Treasurer Stephen Mulligan.
He'll break down the key budget decisions and where the money's going, from health and housing to infrastructure and education, and what it means for you and others in the public sector. With a live Q&A, this is your chance to hear directly from the Treasurer and ask the questions that matter most.
If you're in the public sector and want to understand the state's direction, this is the event for you. Seats are limited, so book now at ipaa.org.au. The 2025 Economic Outlook Luncheon brought to you by IPAA SA.
Some milk on our shelves travels further than you do on holiday. Not milk from Flurio Milk Company. Our milk is proudly homegrown, home bottled and delivered straight from the rolling paddocks of South Australia's Flurio Peninsula. Freshness isn't a buzzword for us. We live and breathe it 24 hours a day. When you buy from Flurio Milk Company, you're supporting our incredible farming families and doing SA proud. Look for Flurio Milk Company in your supermarket.
The BMW Expo sales event is ending soon. Don't miss your chance to enjoy savings equal to the GST on new BMW vehicles. Visit your participating BMW dealer today. bmw.com.au.
Hyundai End of Financial Year sale is on now. Jump into the Tucson from $39,990 drive away at your participating Hyundai dealer.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
6 minutes to 9. Whilst we were speaking with the Governor, the Prime Minister of Australia was speaking to media in Canada at the G7. Now, the two major issues which we discussed with Phil Curry at 7:30 this morning, is also in Canada, were his discussions with Donald Trump on AUKUS and on the tariffs that are currently impacting Australian industry. So here's a little bit of each, starting with his thoughts on AUKUS.
I've seen the comments that were made, and of course it is in Australia, the United States and the United Kingdom's interest that AUKUS not just proceed in terms of Pillar 1, but Pillar 2 as well. There are great advantages that we have. The sum of 1 + 1 + 1 sometimes equals more than 3, and it certainly does that in this case. The advantage for the United States, of course, is getting access to the upgrade and facilities that we'll be putting in place at Henderson, for example, just one advantage.
Yeah, this is now, it's becoming a consistent part of the public pitch for Donald Trump too, that Anthony Albanese's made here in Australia about there are things that are bigger than just your GDP spend on defence that go to the reason why this is a beneficial deal and shouldn't be walked away from. So that's been consistent.
What's it mean the sum of 1 + 1 + 1 is sometimes more than 3?
You know, like a good footy team, sometimes the whole is greater than the sum of the parts.
Oh, okay. Yep, I'm with you.
He took a weird route to get there, but I understood what he was trying to say.
Sounded like us doing a sum.
The other thing he talked about was tariffs.
Last time with Australia and tariffs, and I don't think it would be reasonable to expect that you would have a complete change and a complete resolution of the issues which are there. When I first raised with President Trump the issue of tariffs, of course, he said he would give it great consideration. I would expect that that will continue, and that we'll continue to put forward our case as we have in all of the discussions that I've had with President Trump.
And just to reiterate what Phil said to us earlier, I mean, putting the case would seem to be the extent of what's going to take place. It's hard to imagine a scenario where there's some sort of accord that's agreed to tomorrow morning, when we'll start getting some sense of what was discussed and the nature of it, and a statement will be put out about how both sides felt about it. But expecting something substantive and substantial out of that seems to be a bridge too far. We'll just get an opportunity to say what our position is. Not really expecting anything of great consequence tomorrow morning, though.
Very different people, Trump and Albo. Like, if you were trying to butter up Trump as an Aussie, and if he came to Adelaide, I reckon you'd say, okay, what's the best burger bar? Maybe take him to the Blue and White, North Adelaide.
Yep.
The red and white's gone now. Is the Blue and White still there? I'm pretty sure it's still there. But that could be a combined day where you play 18 on the South Course at North Adelaide and then go to the Blue and White. He doesn't drink, Trump, so you can't take him to, the Wellington Arms or anything like that.
He would like a Greg Norman designed golf course, so that would be something.
Yeah. Well, if you could actually arrange it when Greg was in town, and he was in town only a few weeks ago, he was spotted a few Saturdays ago with the Premier. We had the tape measure out looking at a few of the holes. But that'd be the way to his heart.
Yeah, we'd have 3 Virginia-class submarines by the end of the week, I reckon. That's all from us. Stick around. Graham Goodings is coming up. We'll catch you tomorrow morning from 6 o'clock.
Coming up